So good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Questions? Okay. Nizam 244048 means that Nizam was basically a very senior Mansabdar belonging to the Turani group, and he served as Wazir from 1722 to 24. Then in 1724 he became governor of Hyderabad. In 1740, after this invasion by Nadir Shah, he left Delhi permanently to stay in Hyderabad, and in 1748 he died. So therefore, that's why 244048. 1740, we could have simply written 2448, but 40 why? Because it symbolizes that for such a senior Mansabdar who would always be very power hungry, if he is shifting away from Delhi to live in Hyderabad forever, it tells us, it is a proof of one analysis which he wrote, that able Mansabdars acted selfishly and focused more on carving out their own principalities. Right? So therefore, when he is leaving the station of Delhi, shifting to Hyderabad, this is a proof of he acting selfishly, one component. Right? Second aspect is, it is symbol of the, you would want to be minister in the center, or you would want to be there in Delhi if there is power in Delhi. If you will be able to exercise power in Delhi, only then you would want to be a central minister, or you want to be in Delhi politics. This symbolizes that ab kuch bacha nahi tha Delhi politics mein, there was nothing much in the Delhi politics. That is, the center had become so weak that the cost benefit analysis, it told Nizam that it is better to safeguard Hyderabad from the western enemies, that is Marathas. Right? So therefore, that's why 40 is added. Right? So, so write down the heading. Heading is impact slash result. Impact slash result. First point, huge loss of prestige. Huge loss of prestige. Huge loss of prestige for Mughals. Huge loss of prestige for Mughals. Next point. Muhammad Shah 1948 lost respect among Mansabdars. Muhammad Shah 1948 lost respect among Mansabdars. As did not stand up for his dignity. As did not stand up for his dignity. Despite insults by Nadir Shah. Despite insults by Nadir Shah. Despite insults by Nadir Shah. Next point, loss of prestige among people. Loss of prestige among people. Dash. Nadir Shah massacred. Nadir Shah massacred. MASSACRED. Nadir Shah massacred 2 lakh civilians. Nadir Shah massacred 2 lakh civilians in Delhi. 2 lakh civilians in Delhi. Therefore, people realized that Mughals can't protect them. Therefore, people realized that Mughals can't protect them. Therefore, people realized that Mughals can't protect them. That Mughals can't protect them. Next point. Loss of military prestige. Loss of military prestige. As it was a huge military defeat. Loss of military prestige, as it was a huge military defeat. Soon after defeat by Marathas. Soon after defeat by Marathas in 1738. Soon after defeat by Marathas in 1738. soon after defeat by Marathas in 1738. Next, huge economic loss. Huge economic loss. And now Mughals could not maintain. Huge economic loss, and now Mughals could not maintain. Huge economic loss, and now Mughals could not maintain. Strong army. Huge economic loss, and now Mughals could not maintain strong army. Mughals could not maintain strong army. Full stop. Nadir Shah took away. Nadir Shah took away. Nadir Shah took away. Peacock throne. Nadir Shah took away peacock throne. More peacock throne that had Kohinoor in it. That had Kohinoor in it. Nadir Shah took away peacock throne that had Kohinoor in it. Comma, a huge loot of horses, elephants, and workers. Comma, a huge loot of horses, elephants, and workers. Elephants and workers. And huge wealth worth roughly 100 crores. And huge wealth worth roughly 100 crores. Huge wealth worth roughly 100 crores. Obviously, as per the currency of that time, not today's time. Today, 100 crores is not a big amount. Therefore, Mansabdars were also drained. Therefore, Mansabdars were also drained. Therefore, Mansabdars were also drained of wealth. Therefore, Mansabdars were also drained of wealth as they had to contribute. As they had to contribute. As they had to contribute to the loot. As they had to contribute to the loot. As they had to contribute to the loot. Last point, it was not a coincidence. It was not a coincidence. It was not a coincidence that Nizam 244048. It was not a coincidence that Nizam 244048 left Delhi permanently. That Nizam 244048 left Delhi permanently. Left Delhi permanently for Hyderabad in 1740. In brackets ताल आगे लिखिए. Also fear of Marathas. Also fear of Marathas west of Hyderabad. Also fear of Marathas west of Hyderabad. Brackets closed. Also fear of Marathas. They are on the left hand side of Hyderabad, right? हमने map बनाया था. So therefore, that kind of scenario. Two questions are there. Vaishnavi is asking, Sir, Nadir Shah imprisoned Muhammad Shah in 1739. Then how we can say Muhammad Shah 1948? Because अरे भाई, imprison किया for 60 days. What we had written is that for 60 days, imprison हो गया तो क्या हो गया? जिंदा तो है, मरा तो नहीं. He is still alive. And for 60 days, Nadir Shah stays emperor. After that, because his main purpose was not to rule India, for 60 days he stayed emperor, and after that he went back with this wealth. And therefore, continuation of the tenure of Muhammad Shah until 1748 when he died. So therefore, Muhammad Shah became emperor in 1719 and died in 1748. That's why the code 1948. Right? Another question is, sir, please explain how to plan a day and manage time. देखते हैं. Sir, can you please elaborate about Jagirdari crisis hurting political stability? Jagirdari crisis, it hurt political stability. For example, if you go out of the Konchigi Institute after this class and you find that some huge protests are taking place, that some violence is taking place, some riots are taking place, touch wood as now, but imagine that some riots are taking place, right? So therefore, will you say that there is political stability, or will you say that there is political instability? Instability. So if the Jagirdari crisis is resulting in over extraction of land revenue from the peasants and the primary zamindars, and this is leading to peasant revolts in the 18th century. Multiple peasant revolts took place in different parts of the Mughal Empire. Right. One example we have mentioned that your Jat kingdom was also product of such a peasant revolt. So therefore, you see political instability is there because of law and order instability on the ground, and political instability is also there that we are seeing that a new rebel state called Jat kingdom is coming into existence. So therefore, that means political instability it is taking place, right? Plus factionalism. How? Because there is Jagirdari crisis, that means shortage of Jagirs. That means insecurity of tenure among the present Jagirdar Mansabdars, ki kal ho na ho, that whether we will be able to have Jagir tomorrow or not. And as a result, those who are Jagirless, they are lobbying in the Delhi court much strongly, playing their factionalism power politics. And those who have Jagir, they are also trying to fight in the court politics so that they are able to have the Jagir for longer period of time. Simple point hai, if the cake is small, then the people who want the cake, they'll be fighting more with each other to have that piece of cake. Here the cake is Jagir, and fighting, it represents factionalism or group politics. And if there is group politics, there is political instability. So therefore, you see, Jagirdari crisis contributed to political instability in the form of rise of a rebel state in the form of Jat kingdom, in the form of law and order instability on the ground, in the form of increased factionalism among Mansabdars who are fighting for Jagirs, right? So therefore, this is how Jagirdari crisis it is contributing to political instability, right? तो इस प्रकार से है. So anyways, next you write down. Last point, मतलब इसके बाद एक और point. Now chances of foreign invasion increased. 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 Why? Because everyone knows that you have been defeated, right? So therefore everyone feels that there is an opportunity. Bracket में स्टार लगा के लिखिए 1748 first Afghan invasion by Abdali. 1748 first Afghan invasion by Abdali. Comma 1756-61. 1756-61 second Afghan invasion by Abdali. 1748 first Afghan invasion by Abdali, ABDALI, Ahmad Shah Abdali, we will discuss about him, comma 1756-61 second Afghan invasion by Abdali, comma 1799 third Afghan invasion, 1799 third Afghan invasion by Zaman Shah, third Afghan invasion by Zaman Shah, Z-A-M-A-N, Zaman Shah, successor of Abdali. Zaman Shah, successor of Abdali. Success OR, successor of Abdali. Brackets closed. Right? So you see, this kind of thing it is taking place. Foreign invasions are increasing. Next, write down heading: more proofs of decline of Mughals. More proofs of decline of Mughals. हजरात 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 इतना बम फेंकेंगे कि धुआं धुआं हो जाओगे. इतने proofs हैं. So many proofs are there. That's why those students who try to answer the mains question with respect to decline of Mughals from factual perspective, they will end up not mentioning everything. They will keep on repeating proofs of either factionalism, or they will keep up repeating proofs of military decline, or they will keep up repeating proofs of, let's say, some internal rebellions. They will not be able to cover the answer from the 360-degree perspective, right? So therefore, this this doubt is there among the students because you are just beginning your preparation, and you will be encountering this problem like all the students encounter the problem that, sir, we have loads of content. In the class, you have made us write down 4 pages or 5 pages on this particular aspect, and in the question, mini test question, we are not able to cover all of this in 150 words, how to shorten the answer in 150 words, right? So what is the answer to that particular question? Answer to that particular question is that first, you should, whenever you are preparing any topic, right, try to extract. If I made you write down, although मैंने categories already बनाई हुई हैं, right, but you should try to extract, for example, in this subject or in any other subject, let's say this half page is there, right? Can you call a topic which is either a word or it is a phrase? Can you convert 20 lines or 30 lines into a phrase like topic, right? Or into some topic? खुद से सोचो कि ये क्या है, right? You know, उसको हम क्या कह सकते हैं? What it can be? I have made the categories because we are initiated right now, right? Plus, right? Similarly, next 30 lines, 15 lines, whatever, another topic, right? Next 30 lines, another topic. Next 30 lines, another topic, right? उसको बंद कर लो, लाइव सुन लो मुझे, ठीक? तो anyways, right? So this is there. Let's say overall the topic is reason for decline of Mughals. So therefore, while revising, if you have converted these 30, 40 lines or 15 lines into one word, it becomes easier for you to remember. Kaise? So like, okay, overall there were four broad reasons for decline of Mughals. This was there, this was there, this was there, this was there, right? Then second point, okay, in the first reason, these are the details. In the second reason, these are the details. In the third, these are the details. As a result, what happens if there is now a simple question on reasons for decline of Mughals, and let's say it has to be answered in 50 words, right? In the 50 words, you just mention this, describe just by 10 words, right? Where you focus on the key highlights. And you have answered in 50 words. In the rest of the 10 words, you can conclude in one line, right? If the question it is of 150 words, then you know कि भैया मुझे अपने 4 topics पता है, right? And as per the 150 words, I know that here now I can elaborate upon them 40 words, 40 words, 40 words, 40 words, 160 words. If the question is of 250 words, again 60 words, 60 words, 60 words, 60 words. If the question is essay, then fine, then I have made you write an essay. So your responsibility as a student is to capture these topics, and these topics, they cannot be facts. These topics, they have to be analytical things, right? They have to be things like continuous warfare. These have to be things like जागीरदारी क्राइसिस, क्योंकि बहुत बड़ा टॉपिक है, राइट? सो वो ऐसे एनालिटिकल टॉपिक्स होने चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं सैयद ब्रदर्स ये वो, फिर तो वो फैलता ही चला जाएगा ना. आप कैसे, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू डू इट, right? So therefore, this is why I say that after a couple of revisions, you should try to make notes on the basis of flowchart, like for example I made in the last class, right? So fine, that mean you can make better than that. You can make better than that, right? Flowchart based, right? So it will lead to faster revision also, and it will also empower you to write answer in shorter words. Before writing the test paper, right, my advice is slightly different. My advice is that at this particular stage, you should not care for time, right? So therefore, why? Because when you are playing cricket, when you're doing net practice, you do not count the balls that you have faced. There are no targets. You're simply trying to hone your skills. So therefore, in the beginning, do not care for any time, right? Aram say take half an hour also to write an answer, right? But before writing the answer, try to form a structure that, okay, in this particular question, I'm going to talk about these 5 things. पूरा आंसर नहीं लिखना है, बट एक रफ होता है ना कि अच्छा रीजंस हैं, एक ये था, एक ये था, एक ये था, एक ये था, ओके, आफ्टर दैट आई कैन लिंक दीज रीजंस टू द इम्पैक्ट्स, दिस इम्पैक्ट, दिस इम्पैक्ट. ऐसा एक स्ट्रक्चर, मेक द स्ट्रक्चर, राइट? एंड देन by looking at the structure, keep on, then start writing answer, right? So therefore, automatically your answer will have the flow. At times, those who are checking the answer, they say your answer does not have organization, it does not have flow. But if you're following this, your answer will automatically have a flow. Why? Because it is structured, right? So aisa karke, over a period of time, these structures, they will start developing in your mind on your own. And some of you or most of you might decide that, okay, now I'm a mature UPSC aspirant and now I'm going to directly start writing answers. Because you have trained your mind to think on a structural basis. Ki, acha, these are the 5 things, these are the 4 things, these are the 4 reasons, these are the 4 impacts, these are the key highlights, right? So this has to be done through practice. It will not come immediately, right? Second is, this structure making will really help you in your essay. Because in essay you have to write 20 pages, 15 pages, 25 pages, whatever. So therefore, first every aspirant or every candidate, he takes half an hour or 15-20 minutes to draw a structure, and after looking at that structure, then elaboration keeps on going on, so that you are in the flow. और आप बह नहीं जा रहे, मतलब you are in the flow but you are within the limits also, within the limits of कि अच्छा मैं बात क्या कर रहा हूँ. Because many of the times the answer checker or you myself start feeling कि यार मैं शुरू कहाँ हुआ था पता नहीं कहाँ पहुंच गया. What is the question? Right? So therefore answer checker will not feel कि आप इधर उधर निकल गए, because you are following a particular structure. Right? तो ऐसा मतलब help होगा. Second, my advice is inconvenient, right? So you should follow your advice of the mentors etc. ठीक है, मैं बस अपने perspective से, student perspective से कह रहा हूँ मैं कैसे करता, या अपनी problems. Every student is different. You can be a student who is better than me also. Because when I was at your level, if someone had told me to write answers, I never wrote answers. I could never write daily answers. Even if I tried, I'm like, yaar, ye kaun karega? Right? I am a kind of person who needs some motivation, some test series, जहां पैसा दे रखा हो. ठीक है, फ्री में आंसर मैं नहीं लिखता, फ्री में आंसर है. Neither I never joined any test series for prelims also. I gave only one test in one of the coaching institute. They gave me very bad marks. I rejected them like anything. That is कि भैया I don't want my confidence to go down. ये तो सारे they have asked all such questions which I have never seen also. So मैं नहीं दिया test series. I never gave prelims test series. Right? Mains test series that was very helpful, that I gave, but in those times the culture used to be, those times 3, 4, 5 years back, the culture used to be that once you have cleared your prelims or given your prelims, after that you join the test series. Now this is much better culture, much more competitive environment, that from day one. So it is a very positive thing, right? But my principle is that till the point of time I do not know something properly, how can I answer it to the best of my capability? Logic is, first I should understand, then I should participate in a race. I do not know how to run. ऐसे ऐसे भागे जा रहा हूँ, उसका मीनिंग क्या है? What is the meaning of this? है ना, ऐसे ऐसे कुछ भागे जा रहा हूँ मैं, मतलब क्या है, मतलब एंडा बैंडा कहीं भी जा रहा हूँ. What is the logic of it? ना, I should know how to run. है, I should know how to swim. या पहले ही पानी में कूद जाऊँ. है, and then writing मार्क्स नहीं आ रहे. But you do not know how to swim, and then you are asking why? Because comparison is in your genes. You compare with your friends that they got 5, you got only 3, and then you are wondering, sir, मैं पीछे हूँ. It is all comparison. ना, comparison ruins life. Comparison is the biggest source of unhappiness in life. किसी को जिंदगी में दुखी हो ना, उसको comparison करना सिखा दो. अगर तुम्हारी किसी से दुश्मनी है ना, don't physically hurt him, just make him learn how to compare. Right? Forever in his life, he is going to be unhappy. Right? Even if he becomes Ambani, there will be a Jeff Bezos above him, and he will be unhappy that there is this Jeff Bezos also. Time is running out. Right? So, comparison से कोई logic नहीं. You should follow your own race. तो अब इस context में test writing is very good thing. उसमें no denying that if you are doing daily answer writing, is it helpful? Yes, it is helpful. But what is the right path? In my view, अगर मैं आपकी जगह होता, I would have done cheating. Cheating in the sense, first I would have looked at the question, right? I would not have put me in the exam environment. I would have looked at the question. Then I would have identified the topics which are asked in those questions. Then I would have opened my registers, class notes. I would have revised those topics, right? And after that, taken a 10 minutes break. Then I would have started writing answer to those questions, 4 questions, 5 questions, or whatever. इससे मुझे क्या फायदे हैं? A, I will be getting the maximum number of marks that I can get, right? So I would get to know that if I am getting lower marks, they are not because of lapse of memory. Why? Because I recently revised. That means lapse of memory की वजह से मेरे वो कम marks नहीं आए. They are because of lack of understanding, and therefore I know in which topic I have low understanding. If I give direct text, then my low marks may be because of lack of memory plus or multiplied by lack of understanding. I do not clearly know that whether मतलब मैं कहाँ lack कर रहा हूँ. Memory, see, with proper revisions, with repeat revisions, one can be sure that fine, I have understood, I have lack of memory, with more and more revisions, I will be able to remember. तो वो memory वाला part तो you'll be able to cover. Understanding वाला part you'll not be able to cover. Now, how do you know that if you got 3 marks, it is because of lack of memory or because of lack of, this thing, understanding? Because you have revised just now, so it is not because of lack of memory, it is because of something else. Either it is the inability or lack of practice to write answers, or it is because of lack of understanding. So therefore, clear feedback is coming कि मेरा कौन सा टॉपिक वीक है और मेरा कौन सा टॉपिक स्ट्रांग है. First benefit. Second benefit, see, when we write on a blank page, right? So the biggest benefit that happens is we improve our memory. If we have written anything on a blank page, our memory of that thing becomes very, very strong. Now, scenario number 1, when I have not revised anything and I'm randomly writing, I'll not be able to recall. The less I write, the less memory will improve. But if I've just revised something and after that I'm writing also, then my memory is also improving. So therefore, benefit number 2, better improvement of memory. Why? मैं लिख तो तभी पाऊंगा ना जब मैंने recently कुछ उसको revise किया हुआ है, तभी तो मैं लिख पाऊंगा, right? So otherwise I'll not be able to write all the things which I want to write. यार कुछ तो था वही याद नहीं आ रहा, kind. So second benefit is memory gets improved, right? Third benefit is because you get good marks, right? Because cheating करके लिखा है, right? So your confidence is high, right? And confidence is very, very important. Right? So therefore, these are the benefits. Plus, if you do not follow the time limit, then yes, you're taking more time. You're not in the examination environment, but you're developing this skill. Right? So you're in the net practice mode. You face 3,000 balls to perfect that front drive stroke. Right? So fine, you're developing this also. So therefore, if you remove the time constraint and if you follow this, plus another benefit, targeted revision. If you decide that I want to revise this big register, you're like, yeah, why am I revising? There's no immediate motivation. Prelims is after so many days. Mains में तो पता नहीं prelims भी होगा नहीं होगा. Why am I revising this? No. So targeted revision. You get a motivation that you know that 4 questions are there to be asked from this particular topic. That is why I am revising. Right? So therefore you are able to do targeted revision. राइट तो टारगेट रहता है ना एक टारगेटेड कि यार चलो चलो एंड ऐसे ऐसे टारगेट्स जैसे जैसे आगे चलते चले जाएंगे ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम विल बी एबल टू रिवाइज होल थिंग. फॉर एग्जांपल इफ आई टेल यू यू शुड रीड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया, ओरिजिनल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया, इट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट बोरिंग थिंग दैट एनी पर्सन कैन डू. हु रीड्स द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया? आज मैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पढ़ूंगा, पागल हो, राइट? नहीं. बट व्हाट हैपेंस इज, फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ एनी आर्टिकल इज मेंशन्ड इन एनी सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट, then you open that article in the constitution, then you read that article, then again look at the article of the constitution, then you again look at the newspaper editorial, and then you're like, oh, now I understand this newspaper editorial better. So this is called targeted preparation of Constitution of India. Whenever any article, constitution article, it is mentioned somewhere either by the teacher or by the newspaper, only then you go and search. If some anti-defection law के बारे में जिक्र है, then you go and search the 9th schedule, or then you search the anti-defection things, right? So targeted. Anyways, coming back, ठीक है, तो इस प्रकार से है. तो ये प्रॉब्लम आपको आएगी सून, क्योंकि we are about to cover this topic, so therefore I thought कि मैं आपको बता देता हूं. Write down. First Afghan invasion failed. First Afghan invasion failed. However, First Afghan invasion 1748 failed. First Afghan invasion 1748 failed. However, fear of future invasions remained. However, fear of future invasions remained. Therefore, in 1752, Therefore, in 1752, Therefore, in 1752, Mughals came under protection of Marathas. Mughals came under protection of Marathas, who were now the top power, in India. who are now the top power in India. That is, Mughals, they have a fear of Afghan invasion. They are militarily weak, so they are seeking help of the Marathas. Who are Marathas technically here? Baggy Mistala Gaglikhe. Shahu 1949. Shahu 1949. He is the Maratha Chhatrapati from 1719 to 1749. Shahu 1949 recognized. Shahu 1949 recognized authority of Mughal emperor. Recognized authority of Mughal emperor. Plus accepted a mansab. Plus accepted a mansab. Plus promise to maintain army. Plus promise to maintain army like mansabdar. Promise to maintain army like mansabdar. Brackets closed. So see, Chhatrapati Shivaji never accepted Mughal emperor as his emperor, but Shahuji Maharaj did. Right? So therefore this relationship is there, and therefore Mughals coming under Maratha protection. Fine, it is one of the Mansabdar who is agreeing that Jahanpana, don't worry, I am protecting you. But in reality, who is the Jahanpana? The Marathas are the Jahanpana. That is, they are the real power. Right? But on paper, Mughals are the real power. Mughals are the power. But in reality, Marathas are the real power. Right? This kind of scenario. Full stop. Alamgir 2. Alamgir 2. 5459. That is 1754 to 1759. Alamgir 2. 5459 was a puppet brought to power by Marathas. Was a puppet brought to power by Marathas. Was a puppet brought to power by Marathas. By interfering in succession disputes. By interfering in succession disputes. By interfering in succession disputes. So Marathas, they are already a military power. Mughals are under their protection. Succession. So Imad ul Mulk had killed Ahmad Shah Bahadur. Anyways, succession dispute is taking place, and Marathas, as a Mansabdar like Sayyid brothers, now Marathas are also Mansabdar. So Marathas, they are able to have the man of their choice, and he will do whatever the Marathas ask him to do. So he is a puppet. So therefore, that tells us that who is the top power in India? Again, Marathas are the top power in India. Mughals emperor, he is a puppet. Right? Therefore, by mid 18th century, Marathas were top power, along with strong autonomous states. Marathas were top power along with strong autonomous states. Strong autonomous states. That is successor states. Of Bengal, Hyderabad, Awadh. That is successor states of Bengal, Hyderabad and Awadh. Plus rebel states. That is कौन से भाई? Marathas or Sikh, Jats, Afghans. Rebel states, that is Marathas, Sikhs, Jats, Afghans. Marathas, Sikhs, Jats, Afghans. Marathas, Sikhs, Jats, Afghans. Plus already autonomous states. That is Rajputs, Mysore, Travancore. That is Rajputs, Mysore, Travancore. Mysore, Travancore. That is Rajputs, 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 Mysore, Travancore. That is Raj while Mughal emperor's authority, Rajputs, Mysore, Travancore, semicolon, while Mughal emperor's authority was limited to Delhi and Agra. Mughal emperor's authority was limited to Delhi and Agra. ओपन ब्रैकेट स्टार लगाओ, ब्रैकेट में स्टार लगा के क्वेश्चन Mughal Empire was a figment of imagination. Mughal Empire was a figment of imagination. Mughal Empire was a figment of imagination. By mid 18th century, elaborate. Mughal Empire was a figment of imagination. By mid 18th century, elaborate. Mughal Empire was a figment of imagination. By mid 18th century, elaborate. So this question can be answered from the text we have already discussed, right? लिखिए answer is equal to decline of Mughals with more focus on political and military decline. Decline of Mughals with more focus on political and military decline, with some proofs of decline. Right? So therefore, this will be the element. Why? Because when you are saying Mughal Empire, so therefore, and it is a figment of imagination. So our focus is naturally on the military power and the territorial power or the political power, right? So इसमें जागीरदारी crisis you can mention, but उसका mention थोड़ा सा छोटा रहेगा, because here we are talking about empire, कि empire as a कितना territory उनके control में है, right? And therefore naturally focus on political and military थोड़ा ज़्यादा रहेगा, right? So ये है. एक और question लिखिए. By mid 18th century, this was asked by UPSC. पहले वाला मैंने खुद बनाया, सिंपल सा है. सेकेंड वाला asked by UPSC. By mid 18th century, clarify how India was beset with spectre of fragmented polity. By mid 18th century, clarify how India was beset with spectre of fragmented polity. So how to answer these questions? English can go tel lene, right? So first we know by mid 18th century, that means they are asking about that around 1750s, right? Around 1750s, and because it is around by mid 18th century does not specifically mean the exact 1750. 5-10 साल इधर उधर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इवन 1761 बैटल ऑफ पानीपत कैन ऑल्सो बी इंक्लूडेड, राइट? अराउंड 1750s, राइट? सो बाय मिड 18th century, क्लैरिफाई हाउ, मतलब सिंपली बताओ. क्लैरिफाई तो सिंपल इंग्लिश. क्लैरिफाई हाउ इंडिया समझ में आता है. बिसेट पता नहीं क्या है, कुछ था, मतलब समथिंग विद, ठीक. स्पेक्टर पता नहीं क्या कह रहा है. स्पेक्टर ऑफ तो पता है. पॉलिटी पता है, पॉलिटी पढ़ा है, कोचिंग लिए. ओनली वन वर्ड मीनिंग इज रिक्वायर्ड. फ्रेगमेंटेड माने बिखरा हुआ, राइट? मतलब लाइक अ मिरर इज देयर, इफ यू ब्रेक इट बिकम्स फ्रेगमेंटेड. मतलब टूटा फूटा. मतलब इतना समझ आ रहा है, 1750 इंडिया पॉलिटी टूटा फूटा. लिखना चालू. स्पेक्टर गया भाड़ में, बिसेट विद गया भाड़ में, कुछ नहीं है, right? And ज़्यादा ही टेंशन है, you can look at the Hindi definition if you know Hindi on the right hand side of the question, right? So simply here, what will be the answer? The answer is simple. They want us to know there was lack of strong center. When is the polity strong? Single mirror, strong center, one ruler, right? बिखरा हुआ means the strong center is not there, and power is distributed among different regional powers, right? So here you have to talk about lack of strong center. So you need to tell that how the Mughal emperor was nothing, but you also, that has to be a very small thing. More focus needs to be on fragmented. Strong, lack of strong center is fine, but फिर fragmented कैसे, right? So there you focus on these different states: rebel, already autonomous, and successor states. So therefore you tell, briefly you would have to tell, you see, briefly you would have to tell about that how did the successor states they came to power, which were these successor states, and how they did not respect the Mughal authority. Briefly you would have to tell that, see, even when the Mughals were strong, even then there existed some already autonomous states. Reasons: Rajputs, they could never be militarily overpowered by the Mughals. South India, Mysore and Travancore, they were in South India, where the Mughals, they were very late to reach, right? Only Aurangzeb reached, and there also, only till Mysore. Travancore was always politically, legally also independent. Mughals could not even touch Travancore, right? And rebel states, so like Marathas we have covered. So therefore, why there was rise of rebel state, and which were these rebel states, and some proof. So basically it is going to be a very miscellaneous kind of an answer. We have not yet discussed successor states, we have not yet discussed the rebel states, we have not yet discussed the already autonomous. Those are the future topics. So therefore this is a question which can be answered from the immediately the next topics that we are going to discuss, and one part we have covered. This part has to be covered, and it is 150 marks, 150 words. कितने पेजेस हो चुके हैं आपके? So this is what UPSC does. This is what UPSC does. As I told you in the first class also, UPSC preparation is all about, these are the different chapters, or these are the different topics, or these are the different subjects. UPSC asks such questions which are related to these horizontal bridges. These are the questions. Questions, ये वाले questions कभी भी नहीं पूछेगा UPSC. These questions they will be not be ever asked. Bridges पूछता है UPSC. UPSC आपसे पूछ रहा है कि कुछ 150 words में create something whereby you are picking up some part of this, picking up some part of this, and picking up some part of this. Now tell me the answer. And who will be able to prepare this recipe? Only a student who has understood the why of things. For a student for whom rote learning is paramount, learning the facts, learning the years is paramount, that student can never qualify UPSC. As simple as that. Prelims भी qualify करना मुश्किल हो जाएगा, because nowadays prelims is also all analysis based. Right? Those students जो सोच के पढ़ेंगे वो ये bridges बना सकते हैं. जब during the course of the preparation जितने bridges बनाओगे, you will develop the habit of developing these horizontal bridges, and therefore in the exam you will be able to develop that horizontal bridges on the spot. And हो जाता है, trust me, होता है. It's not impossible, आराम से होता है. बस एक reason है, why पढ़ के समझ के पढ़ना चाहिए. If you study with understanding only then, otherwise नहीं हो पाएगा. Right? So anyways, so write down the next heading: successor states. Successor states. हाँ जी, रुक जाओ, अभी एक बहुत क्रांतिकारी क्वेश्चन पूछ ले. औरबिंदो घोष को जानते हो आप? मैंने इंट्रोड्यूस किया है औरबिंदो घोष को. देखिए, अभी मैंने आई सेड समथिंग रिगार्डिंग फैक्ट्स, राइट, एंड आई वाज सो हैप्पी दैट Aurobindo has also said something on these lines. What does Aurobindo says? Aurobindo was champion of education also, national education also. He says, assumption of our educationists that we have to supply the mind with a smattering of facts, this year, that Raja, smattering of facts in each department of knowledge, and that the mind can be trusted to develop itself and take its own suitable road, is opposite to science, that is contrary to science, contrary to human experience. Much as we have lost as a nation, we have always preserved our intellectual alertness, quickness, and originality. But even this last gift is threatened by our university system. And if it goes, it will be the beginning of irretrievable degradation and final extinction of our civilization. राइट, तो ये तो खैर बहुत बड़े शब्द हैं, Parantu, simple focus, if you will focus on rote learning, if your primary focus is, I need to remember what was the time period of Aurangzeb, you will never be able to qualify UPSC. Your focus has to be on why part of things. Right? Another question, sir, should we finish one subject first completely or study one or two subjects? What does Aurobindo says? Aurobindo criticized the Western education. He says that jack of all trades are created by the Western education system, whereby in one academic year, students are learning not one subject, but 6 to 8 subjects. Then again in next year, 6 to 8 subjects. As a result, in any year, a jack of all trades is created, master of none. He says that the ancient Indian education system, for 1 year, study only one subject, master it, move ahead. The only one negative in this system is that we might forget when we are learning the fourth subject, we might forget the first subject. Why? Because in first year, one subject only. In second year, new subject only. Third year, third subject only. So when we are in the fourth year, we might forget what we did in the first year. But he says कि अगर समझ के पढ़ेंगे, if we focus on why, if we focus on proper practice, then we will be able to retain the first year wala subject as well. Now we cannot implement Aurobindo here, the way the education system is, it is, but can we learn from him in our revision? So Tanu has asked, sir, should we finish one subject first completely or study 1 to 2 subjects together? Right? So therefore, as per Aurobindo, complete one subject completely first. Then move on to the second subject. Scientifically, there is something called e की power x. E की power x का curve है, right? Those students who divide their one day into studying, sir, 1 hour I do current affairs, then sir, for half an hour I do present class revision, sir, the next 1 hour I do previous class revision, sir, in the next 1 hour I have started polity also, and sir, then I am tired, sir, then I sleep. So basically what happens is, you started studying, you only reached till this point, and then you have shifted the subject. Again you started studying, you only reached till this point, you again shifted the subject. This e की power x could never happen in your life. Why? Because this happens, this is the aha movement. It is a proper term. कौन सा था वो यूरेका जो चिल्लाया था, वो एक पगलैट पागल हो गया था, उसने कुछ डिस्कवर किया था, कुछ यूरेका चिल्लाया था, ठीक है ना? तो एनीवेज वो aha movement था, वो यहां तक पहुंचा था, सोचते बट कुड नॉट आइडेंटिफाई दैट क्रक्स ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम. When he found he was swimming or something and suddenly he started shouting, Eureka, mil gaya. In psychology, this is called aha movement. And many experiments have been done on the animal's mind, on the human minds, with respect to problem solving or with respect to understanding of anything. For a long period of time, our mind keeps on trying to solve that problem, but suddenly, this is the role of the subconscious mind. In most of the cases, suddenly, this aha movement comes that suddenly this is there. Luckily, I have witnessed this myself in my life. Throughout my 11th class, I could not understand anything of IIT. I used to come home and cry in the lap of my mother. मेरे से ये नहीं होने वाला. But I still kept on struggling कि चलो यार देखते हैं. I don't know what happened in class 12th. Suddenly, some concepts of 11th class, I was preparing. So therefore, in 12th class, I finally got the confidence that okay, I can clear this exam because I don't know what happened in the whole 11th. I could not understand 11th, and in class 12th, while I was doing class 12 plus 11th class syllabus self study se I could be able to understand, I was able to solve question. तो ये हुआ. This is called aha moment. Psychology में पढ़ा बाद में कि अच्छा ऐसा कुछ होता है, right? So therefore, if you study one subject, at least in one day study only one subject, not more than one subject. At least इतना तो कर लो. Better will be for 3 days continuously revise one subject. Then fine. If you feel that other subject is lagging behind, pick 2. But पैरेलली 2 सब्जेक्ट्स ही चलाओ. क्लास में चलो एक सब्जेक्ट चल रहा है, पैरेलली आपने एक और सब्जेक्ट चला लिया है, 2 चला लिए चलो एट मैक्स कि फॉर 4 days आई एम गोइंग टू रिवाइज दिस सब्जेक्ट व्हिच इज नॉट देयर इन द क्लास, फॉर रेस्ट ऑफ द 4 days आई एम गोइंग टू रिवाइज दिस सब्जेक्ट. तो चलो उतना भी चलता है. वन डे डिवाइडिंग वन डे इनटू मल्टीपल पार्ट्स, इट्स sheer stupidity, right? So it's not right. You were asking something. Yes. So when Aurangzeb annexed new kingdoms, then the wealth of that particular kingdom, it can be used by the Aurangzeb. It can be used by the Aurangzeb and he can fund his warfare. Yes, that one particular point is there that through loot and plunder you can. But kharcha bhi to hai. if you want to be not just a conqueror but also a ruler, then you have to do expenditure. What is the difference? This is a particular state which is right now being ruled by King 1. What has happened simply is now this particular state has its own income, has its own expenditure. What has simply happened is that instead of King 1, now there is King 2. And because King 1 fought a war, therefore economy of this state is also down. Now you're telling me that, sir, this King 2 can further go ahead and kill all the people and loot all their wealth to fund his future warfare. So that will be true if this particular person wants only to be conqueror. But if he aspires to be a ruler like King 1, ruler means who is working in day-to-day life, laws, etc., who is trying to manage the finances of this new area, he can extract some wealth, but not beyond a limit. But not beyond a limit, right? Also, treasury can be looted, but then finances of the state will be gone, and now you are part of this thing. Now you are part of the Mughal Empire. So one of your province will be totally financially dead. Then how to solve that problem? So therefore, this kind of scenario, right? So we cannot say that since Sikkim was taken over by India or Sikkim joined India, so India could have taken away all the wealth of Sikkim and used that money for capturing Lahore. ऐसा नहीं कह सकते ना. Sikkim is our, it is our part. We have to rule it in a good way, right? So that kind of scenario. So if you intend to be ruler, not just conqueror, not just a devastator, right? If you intend Kini, this is now my province. And Aurangzeb intended to rule. Why? Because Mansabdars, the Deccan group comes into existence. So yeah, he was a conqueror, fine, but he wanted to rule, right? Not good or bad, but simply he wanted to rule. And any ruler, yes, he is converting into Khalisa land. So he is disempowering the Mansabdars. So उतना वो कर रहा है, but और से ज़्यादा क्या करे वो तो उसने किया ही already. Next, मतलब yes, land revenue उसके पास आएगा. मैं कह रहा हूँ additional source of income आएगा, but that additional source of income has to be compared with his expenditure. उसका 40-year continuous warfare हो रहा है. So despite some new income coming in through annexations, that is not able to properly fulfill the expense, right? Right. So successor states is the heading, right? So basically, who are successor states? Look at the name successor. Successor means Uttaradhikari, and that is within the family, right? So within the Mughal family, as the Mughal emperor got weakened, so therefore some of his governors of provinces, they gradually started behaving autonomously. They stopped respecting Mughal emperor, and they started ruling as if they are independent. They stopped listening to Mughal emperor. Why they could do so? Because Mughal emperor was weak, and therefore they felt the confidence that we can defy him. But on paper, they always stayed part of the Mughal family. They never declared political independence. There were some benefits of that. We will cover it. So these successor states are Bengal, Hyderabad, Awadh, right? So in brackets, you can write down Bengal dash Murshid Quli Khan. Bengal dash Murshid Quli Khan. 1717-27 / MQK 1727. Murshid Quli Khan 1727 or MQK 1727. That can be his code. Murshid Quli Khan. So he was the Nawab of Bengal, who established Bengal as a successor state. That is, it was under him that the Mughal emperor felt helpless with respect to what is happening in Bengal, and he established his own rule, right? Plus, you can write down Nizam ul Mulk 244048. 244048, that is from 1724 to 1748. He was this is Hyderabad, right? So he was यहाँ पे you can write down Hyderabad. So he was the governor of Hyderabad from 1724 to 1748, and he established Hyderabad as a successor state, right? Plus you have Sadat Ali Khan 2240, that is 1722-40, and he is of Awadh, right? So these are the three Mughal governors who started behaving independently or autonomously and established successor states which have been mentioned. right? Now, some natural questions come to our mind. The first question is, sir, how they were able to establish the successor state? So, what is a successor state? That is the first question that comes to our mind. So, answer is simple. Successor state, it basically meant that some of the Mughal governors, although they did not politically declare independence, that we are an independent country, ऐसा नहीं किया उन्होंने, they stayed within the Mughal empire, but these people, they started ruling as they wanted to rule. If they wanted you as a Mansabdar, they would appoint you as the Mansabdar without talking to the Mughal emperor, without taking permission of the Mughal emperor, right? So therefore, appointment of Mansabdars, distribution of Jagirs as they want to do. So therefore, the earlier this power was exercised by the Mughal emperor. Now this power, it is being exercised by these governors, right? It does not matter whether the Mughal emperor wants you to be Mansabdar or wants you to have a Jagir, right? I, the Nawab or the governor of this particular province, I can give any Mansab to anyone, meri marji. At the state level, I can choose the state ministers as I want to choose. Right? That is the first component. Second component, with respect to domestic policies, for example, economic policies of tax collection, what should be the percentage of land revenue? Meri marzi, my wish, right? What should be the taxes on the domestic traders? My wish. I will not ask the Mughal emperor, right? So therefore, this kind of scenario, it is taking place. They are behaving autonomously. You are my neighbor. I think there is an opportunity to fight a war with you. I'll start a war with you without caring for what does the Mughal emperor thinks. Imagine such a scenario that Punjab launches a war on Pakistani Punjab. ऐसा हो सकता है क्या? Or Gujarat launches a war on Pakistan, Sindh. Imagine, right? And Indian government says कि अरे गुजरात मत लड़, and Gujarat says मैं तो लड़ रहा हूँ, तुझे जो करना कर ले. ऐसा हो सकता है क्या? And if that scenario is there, then imagine how weak the central government of India is then. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है, right? But I will start a war with my neighbors if I want to, and I will end the wars with my neighbors if I want to. I will exchange territory with my neighbors by signing a treaty if I want to. As simple as that. Who are you? You are nothing, right? You are the Mughal emperor, you are nothing. So therefore, in matters of war and peace, they behaved autonomously. Another important tool of control is finances. So these people, for example, what they started doing, land revenue from the Khalisa lands needs to go to the Mughal emperor. Some share will be there for the state government, and rest of it will go to the central government. Now these people, plus accounts also need to go, so that the state government is not cheating. If the land revenue from the Khalisa land is 67 rupees, then accounts need to be sent, right? And out of that 67 rupees, ये हमारा खर्चा है, this is our expenditure, and therefore we are sending 30 rupees to you, 37 rupees we are keeping. Accounts though. Accounts, giving accounts is a very important tool of maintaining control, right? For example, in childhood, my mother is a housewife, right? So therefore, father used to give monthly expenditure, right? At times it happened that just after 18 or 20 days, the monthly expenditure is exhausted. So my mother would ask for money from father, additional money. My father will get angry that you have done over expenditure. Then my father will ask my mother, show me the books of accounts. Where have these rupees gone? Right? How they have ended 10 days before the month has ended. Then my mother, with some slight anger and some slight tears in her eyes, she would say, I will show you account books. You run the household expenditure. I have nothing to do with it. तुम ही चला लो घर का खर्चा, पर मैं हिसाब नहीं दूंगी. I will not give you the account books. Why? Because if account books are taken by the father, then it acts as a very important way of control. It acts as a very important way of control, and my mother wanted autonomy. My mother wanted autonomy, right? She is a successor state. She wants autonomy within the household. That is what is there. In the government system also, you are aspiring also for a service called Indian Audit and Account Service. So what does Indian Audit and Account Service does? It asks for books of accounts from all other civil services. So therefore, if you are an IAS officer and you are, so who are your targets? Not the people, but the other bureaucrats. And that's why they are treated with great respect by all other services. IAS officers, they are treated with great respect by all other services. Here वो accounts वाले रखे हैं sir, क्या लोग इच्छा है लोग क्या, right? Because if they put a query, then it is upon you to explain where did this expenditure took place, right? And queries, they can be very easily created. So therefore, that is a nuisance value. Other services, they have a nuisance value over the citizens, right? Some nuisance value. IAS has nuisance value over the other bureaucrats, right? So therefore, this kind of so account books. These people, first they stopped sending account books. Then they stopped sending revenue every month. That is infrequently. Sent this month, did not send for the next 2 months. Again sent, then did not send. Then they gradually reduced the amount of money that they were sending. And one day they stopped sending any money, right? And therefore, gradually over a period of time, they are not treating the Mughal emperor with respect. Money is not reaching the center at all. No account books, no money gradually. So therefore, this is how they are behaving autonomously. Next question that comes into mind. So, okay, we understand, sir, this is the FAQ approach. We are not doing anything special. Whatever comes to our mind. Bhai, sir ne bola topic is successor state. First natural question, sir, what is successor state? Right. So, explanation. Right. Next question, sir, how they were able to do this? A very natural question for any student. Right. So, they were able to do it by ending the system of checks and balances. By ending the system of checks and balances. What is the system of checks and balances? If I am Mughal emperor, I would never want one person to become extra powerful in a state, right? So for example, if you are Subadar, that is governor, Subadar, governor, Nawab, Nazim, they are synonyms, right? So if you are a Subadar, I would try to ensure that the finance minister, that is the Diwan, is your rival. And the war commander of the state's army, right? War commander at the state level, he is your both's enemy. As a result, as soon as any one of you wants to do any hanky-panky, then the rest too will start sending reports immediately to me. And this will act as an early warning system that this particular person is trying to become extra powerful, or this particular person is trying to go out of his limits, right? And before he becomes extra powerful, I'll remove him from the mansab. Right? So therefore, system of checks and balances. You telling me about these two, you telling me about these two, and you telling me about these two. Right? Sir, ye kar raha. System of checks and balances. How do you end this system of checks and balances? One option is that Mr. Subadar also becomes Diwan. That is one way. Second is Subadar remains Subadar, but Diwan is his relative, war commander is his relative, the deputy Subadar, that is deputy governor or deputy chief minister, he is also his relative or his very good friend. So therefore, then who will oppose him? No one. Who will do chugli against him? No one. Who will send early warning to the center about his usurping power? No one. Now he can fudge the accounts. Now he can fudge the accounts. Or now he can do whatever he wants to do. No one, the system of checks and balance, it is an important system. In fact, the IAAS is a system of checks and balance within the services. So that the different bureaucrats, they do not misuse the public money. Therefore, let us create a system, a whole service called Indian Audit and Account Service, who will on a very regular basis keep a check on all other services with respect to their finances. So that early warning is given with respect to the misuse of public funds. That is the actually purpose of the Indian Audit and Accounts Service, headed by CAG, right? So therefore, system of checks and balances, first they end it. Now, how they will be able to end it? 2 or 3 options are there. Either Mr. Subadar was a very favorite of emperor and belonged to a powerful Irani group or Turani group or Hindustani group, right? A, he is a favorite, therefore he will be able to extract additional mansab, that is make me Diwan also, right? That is, he has won some favor, right? Second component is maybe he's not favorite, but his group was the reason because of which the king became king. For example, Sayyid brothers ki wajah se they became king. So therefore, it is possible that Hindustani group would be able to have some governors also, right? And they are able to have some additional mansabs, or through some arm twisting or something else, right? But they were able to do this. For example, Sadat Ali Khan was made governor. Why? Because he was given a reward. He had suppressed the peasant revolts, which had broken out because of over extraction of land revenue in Awadh. And therefore he was rewarded कि चलो हम तुमको governor बना देते हैं. And he was also rewarded कि चलो तुम्हारे दामाद को, that is your son-in-law, will also be made deputy governor. So therefore gradually system of checks and balances is ending. Bengal was the richest province of Mughal Empire, and Murshid Quli Khan was a very, very good finance minister. And therefore for his very, very efficient work, he was rewarded, and he was also made what you call as Subadar. And he was very generous with respect to giving money to Mughal emperor. Right? So even when later on, by 1720s, when these other people, they have stopped sending revenue to Delhi, Bengal kept on sending revenue to Delhi. Even after Murshid Quli Khan, Bengal somehow maintained loyalty with respect to sending money until Alivardi Khan 1740-56 came to power. Till that point of time, Bengal continued to send money to the Mughal emperor, and therefore that is the thing, right? But otherwise this kind of scenario is there, right? So Nizam, obviously Nizam is Nizam, Wazir from 1722 to 24, person responsible for restoring the status of the Muhammad Shah 1948 by defeating Sayyid brothers in 1720, right? So therefore obviously he will be able to get whatever he wants to get. Right? So therefore this is how system of checks and balances was ended. Step number 1. Step number 2 क्या किया इन्होंने? भाई they want power. Power is monetary power plus political power plus military power. So therefore, for example, to get monetary power is needed to have a strong army. So these people, they started doing something new, right? All of these three. They started making men of money, mansabdars. Men of money mane merchant, trader, money lender, banker, right? These kind of people, they were only men of money. They never enjoyed political status. They never enjoyed political power. But these people were made mansabdars by these three. And as a result, they got monetary power, right? And in return, they are giving them mansabs. Usually ऐसा नहीं होता था. Usually men of money को नहीं बनाया जाता था. Only those people who had lineage, that is, my papa was also mansabdar, my grandfather was also. So nobility class was made mansabdar, not the financial class, right? But this is another thing. So therefore they got monetary power and became powerful. This kind of scenario they are doing. Hyderabad ने तो पूरा structure ही change कर दिया. In the case of Hyderabad, it is written that Hyderabad polity became totally, you cannot recognize that Hyderabad is part of Mughal system. Why? One core feature of Mughal system is that most of the mansabdars, they are coming from good background, lineage. यहाँ पे तो ऐसा हो गया, you are a mansabdar, who are you? I am a trader. You are a mansabdar, who are you? I am a money lender. You are a mansabdar, who are you? I am a banker. You are a mansabdar, who are you? I am a trader. You banker, money lender. You ijaradar. You ijaradar. You, I am from lineage. अरे मतलब कि after every 7, I am finding one person who used to be traditionally the mansabdar. That is, bhaiya, to mansabdari system has totally changed. This we have never seen. So therefore, this kind of system character is changed. This kind of system, right? Then, for example, acha, you are a mansabdar. Acha, you must be having a jagir. What jagir you have? You say Watan jagir. What jagir you have? Watan jagir. What jagir you have? Watan, 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 Watan. Are? In the traditional mansabdari system, most of the jagirs, they are tankha jagirs. They are tankha jagirs. ये वतन 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 क्या है? So because ऐसा तो नहीं था. Tankha jagir was the primary thing, primary power of the Mughal emperor, that he can, tankha jagirs, they are transferable. So therefore this made the emperor powerful, that I can transfer a jagir at any point of time. But in Hyderabad, to get support of the lineage wale mansabdars, their Tanka Jagis were converted into Watan Jagis. So therefore, what started dominating? Watan Jagis started dominating. So यार बड़ा अलग सा सिस्टम बन गया, right? So ऐसा भी हुआ. So therefore, but this is why, this is to get support of these people. Either your military support, you are a traditional lineage wala mansabdar, your military support, you are monetary power. So therefore, to get your monetary support. So this is how they are functioning. So please write down. Within Mughal Empire, within Mughal Empire, within Mughal Empire, certain powerful nobles, within Mughal Empire, certain powerful nobles, within Mughal Empire, certain powerful nobles established themselves, certain powerful nobles established themselves as autonomous power centers, established themselves within Mughal Empire, certain powerful nobles established themselves as autonomous power centers, as autonomous power centers, by carving out successor states, by carving out successor states within Mughal Empire, by carving out successor states within Mughal Empire. That is, they ruled autonomously. That is, they ruled autonomously, but never formally. They ruled autonomously, but never formally broke off ties. But never formally broke off ties. They ruled autonomously, but never formally broke off ties with Mughal Empire. But never formally broke off ties with Mughal Empire. Full stop. This was because of personal ambitions in Delhi politics. This was because of personal ambitions in Delhi politics. Personal ambitions in Delhi politics. That is desire for greater influence. That is desire for greater influence outside their desire for greater influence outside their principalities. Outside their principalities. Outside their principalities. Outside their principalities. Principalities means my area. So what is the principality of Nizam? Hyderabad. What is the principality of Murshid Quli Khan? Bengal. What is the principality of Saadat Ali Khan? Awadh. Right? So therefore you see personal ambitions. That is, if I am simply governor of Awadh, fine, I am the ruler of Awadh. I am ruling Awadh as I want to rule. But if I declare independence, then I will be limited to Awadh. Right? But if I do not declare independence, then there is a possibility that I can become Wazir. Right? There is a possibility that I can become Mir Bakshi. There is a possibility that I can become some central level minister along with being governor. And therefore, as Wazir, emperor will be in my pocket. Right? Or I will be able to have influence even outside Awadh. Right? Yes, Mughal emperor is very weak. Mughal emperor is very weak. But still, some soft power to rahega. I can ask Mughal emperor to do this, to do that, etc. Some soft power. So, plus people will remember me in history as Wazir from this year to this year. Right? So therefore, personal ambitions in Delhi politics. Why? Because if I am in Delhi, then I can have influence. Fine, utna zyada nahi because Mughal emperor is weak. But I can have at least some extra influence, then influence over my Awadh. है ना, कुछ तो एक्स्ट्रा पावर हो सकती. If you are state chief minister, if you are state finance minister, you have influence only in that state. But if you are India's finance minister, then you have influence. Right? So therefore, over the whole thing. Right? So this kind of scenario. So by holding positions, continued है, full stop नहीं है, continued है, outside their principalities, by holding positions, outside their principalities, by holding positions, like wazir, by holding position like wazir, mir bakshi, etc. By holding positions like wazir, mir bakshi, etc. Right? Don't forget, Sadat Ali Khan wanted to be Mir Bakshi, but was not given the mansab. That's why switched sides and fought on the side of Nadir Shah. So you see, Mir Bakshi, that's why we added. Wazir, obviously, Wazir is Wazir. Wazir is the Pradhan Mantri or the Prime Minister, right, of the Emperor. Right? Plus wanted. Plus wanted. Legitimacy of Mughal Empire. 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 Right? So, what is the meaning of this? Legitimacy mane, you are Sachin Tendulkar. Right? You are Sachin Tendulkar. And you are wearing Indian team's t-shirt. Right? And you are Sachin Tendulkar. And you are wearing Kenya's t-shirt. You are Sachin Tendulkar, same person. Right? When will you get more respect in the cricketing community? Because of that blue t-shirt. India's t-shirt, you will get more respect. So, therefore, the brand India matters. Brand India matters. You are Sachin Tendulkar. मान लिया भैया, you are Nizam, fine. You are Sadat Ali Khan, you are Murshid Quli Khan. But if you have your own flag, then people, when they look at that flag, अच्छा पता नहीं कुछ नया, some small independent kingdom is there. It has come up. Awadh has declared independence. Okay, ठीक है. Right? But when that very same Awadh is there, you're ruling the Awadh in the same manner. But when your karma comes, right, you are coming with this huge Mughal banners, let's say, and you are the person who is standing in front of the karma, and you are moving, right? Person is same, but the aura that will be there, the brand that will be there. So therefore, this thing. In fact, if you are, for example, ऐसे imagine करते, if you are traveling, if you are talking to any other state, so therefore, how you will introduce yourself? You will say, I am one of the most important governors of one of the biggest or one of the most important province of Mughal Empire, Sadat Ali Khan. Right? So therefore, you are using the brand name. You will be seen with that. So therefore, एक legitimacy है, एक legitimacy है, right? Plus, for better trade, plus for better trade with rest of Mughal Empire, plus for better trade with rest of Mughal Empire. Better trade with rest of Mughal Empire. Obviously, if you are an independent country, so कितना झंझट होता ना, कभी सोचा है दिल्ली और महाराष्ट्र के बीच में फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट नेगोशिएशंस आर गोइंग ऑन, बट इंडिया और यूएस के बीच में फ्री ट्रेड नेगोशिएशंस, एफटीए, इंडिया एंड यूरोपियन यूनियन थिंकिंग अबाउट फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट. So see, when you are a separate independent country, trade barriers they increase. It is difficult for people to move their goods and to move people from one country to another country. So if you are part of the Mughal Empire, then some positives will be there with respect to your merchants being able to do export and import relatively easily. Plus your armies, they can also move from one place to another relatively easily, right? So therefore that benefit is going to be there if you do not declare independence. Plus potential of military help, potential of military help, potential of military help from rest of Mughal Empire, plus potential of military help from rest of Mughal Empire, potential of military help from rest of Mughal Empire. चलो हेल्प नहीं होगी, कम से कम यू विल नॉट फाइट ऑन द साइड ऑफ माई एनिमी, इतना तो मे बी आई कैन एक्सपेक्ट, बिकॉज वी आर पार्ट ऑफ सेम फैमिली, राइट? फाइन, यू आर माई ब्रदर, you are living on first floor, I am living on second floor, fine, we keep on quarreling with each other, you are not with me, but at least this hope will be there that when any thief comes, you will not be telling him that आजा अभी नहीं है, you will not be telling him, you know, you will not be on his side. At least neutrality can be expected because you are part of the same empire, same family, right? Or an alliance, At least potential is there because you have not broken off ties, right? So therefore, these are the positives. These are the positives. Otherwise, practically also think, right now you are jealous of me, right? But you're not able to do anything. Fine, I'm ruling Bengal, right? You are a Mansabdar. Fine, you're jealous of me, right? I was able to establish a successor state. You are not able to establish a successor state. Tomorrow I declare independence. तुम्हें बहाना मिल गया तुम्हारे जैसे को. You got alibi. You now started shouting. How dare he breaks out of the Mughal Empire? Jahapana. Jahapana is like, till yesterday you were not even talking to me, and now you are my champion, right? Why? Because she's grinding her own ex, right? So therefore, as a result, now random enemies will come up. What is the utility, right? So therefore, cost benefit analysis. क्यों लेनी? ऐसा हो सकता है that other people, there can be other neighboring successor states or other successor states or other mansabdars who have eye on Bengal. By using this as a bahana or as an alibi, they can come together, defeat me and partition the wealth of Bengal among each other. तो क्यों करना है ऐसा? Right? Why to do this? Right? So ऐसे ही रहो ना. Right? So there is no point. Right? Normally, so in any country, let's say there is a chief minister of any particular state. अब चलो हिस्ट्री से एग्जांपल देता हूं. फॉर एग्जांपल, या फिर वैसे ही ले लो. If in any country there is a chief minister of a state, he is powerful, the central government might be jealous of him. The other political parties might be jealous of him. Imagine he declared independence, that my state is going to be an independent country. Right? As well, now what will happen? Now all of those people will come together and to preserve the territorial integrity of that particular country, they will pounce upon him and remerge the state, and he will be imprisoned or maybe shot. So, kya mila? Right? So you see, politics, think like a politician. So cost benefit analysis. Right? So us prakar se. Anyways, next point. These nobles, after getting appointed as governors, after getting appointed as governors, consolidated power by ending system of checks and balances. Consolidated power by ending system of checks and balances. Therefore leading to over concentration of power. Therefore leading to over concentration of power. Example, break of 10 minutes. लिख लिया तूने क्या लिखा? तूने लिख लिया break of 10 minutes. लिख लिया, ठीक है. So we'll meet after 10-11 minutes. ऐसे मैं चेक करता रहता हूँ कितने मैसेज लिखे जा रहे हैं. बैकग्राउंड में गाना चल रहा है, भाग भाग डिगे बोस, बैकग्राउंड में गाना चल जा रहा है. अरे सुन तो लो क्या कह रहा आदमी है. ब्रेक ऑफ 10 minutes. तो we'll meet after 10 minutes. So Gagan is asking, sir, there could be a question to compare the Jagirdari crisis, Mansabdari and current politics. Nahi, usually such questions are not asked. Political questions, they are not asked, right? So therefore it will not be there. Can we compare those crises in democratic politics of Gadbandhan government? Yes, for your own analysis you can. For better understanding of history, you can compare with the current politics, but UPSC, see, one of the core ethic of the bureaucrat is to be apolitical, right? And therefore political questions are as such not asked, right? Questions will be asked on technicalities or international relations, but not on domestic polities or party politics as such. Even if any question is asked, it would be pertaining to not particular party or party politics. It will be pertaining to what you call as something which has become history. For example, post-independence India, say they ask you about emergency, and there also the focus will be on constitution. That, for example, if emergency is applied, so therefore what was the economic impact of that emergency, what was the constitutional impact or developments in the constitutional history of India. ऐसा मतलब apolitical type से रहता है, right? So that is what is there. So please explain how inflation in luxurious goods due to high exports to Europe contribute to decline of Mughals. It did not contribute to decline of Mughals. It simply contributed to insecurity of the Mansabdars, smaller Mansabdars. So therefore, if there is export of goods from India to the outside world, right? As a result, what will happen? As a result, there will be shortage of those goods in India, right? For example, Great Bengal famine of 1943, where 5 crore Indians died. Why did they die? Because World War II was going on from 1939 to 1945. Export of rice was done from India to Europe so that the people of Europe, they can have food. As a result, there was shortage of food in India, resulting in people dying of hunger. 5 crore people died, right? Food inflation was also there. Here we are talking about luxurious goods. So therefore, export of goods from India would lead to shortage of supply of those goods in India, and those who are relatively weaker Mansabdars monetarily, they will not be able to afford those goods, and therefore their sense of insecurity will increase that I am a Mansabdar and I am not able to maintain my lifestyle जो एक मनसबदार का होना चाहिए. So therefore their chances of doing military corruption, their chances of over extracting land revenue from the peasants will increase, right? So therefore that was just a miscellaneous point that we mentioned. Right, so very indirectly it contributes to decline of Mughals because it contributes to military corruption by the Mansabdar. Therefore, it contributes to military weakness, and therefore it contributes to decline of Mughals. An indirect link is there, right? Right on next example. They ensured that their relatives. Example. They ensured that their relatives. Example. They ensured that their relatives and loyalists. They ensured that their relatives and loyalists were appointed to important positions. Slash mansabs. Were appointed to important positions slash mansabs. Like Diwan, comma, Deputy Subadar, like Diwan, comma, Deputy Subadar, comma, war commander, and other important positions, Example, Sadat Ali Khan, double 240. Example, Sadat Ali Khan, 2240, got his son-in-law, Safdarjung, appointed as Deputy Subadar, appointed as Deputy Subadar. And MQK 1727 Murshid Quli Khan 1727 was already Diwan when he was appointed as Subadar, Subah, S-U-B-A-H, it means province or state. Subahadar slash Nazim slash Nawab. Subadar slash Nazim slash Nawab slash Governor. Subadar slash Nazim slash Nawab slash Governor of Bengal Suba. Full stop. Of Bengal Suba, full stop. Next point. They gathered, gathered, they gathered support of economically powerful sections. They gathered support of economically powerful sections. Like intermediary zamindars, like intermediary zamindars, comma, ijaradars slash revenue farmers, comma, ijaradars slash revenue farmers, ijaradars slash revenue farmers, comma, merchants, comma, moneylenders and bankers, merchants, moneylenders and bankers. By first subpoint. See, what does a businessman wants? The government should not harass me. The government should not extract random taxes from me. The government should give me security of property and not take away my wealth randomly. Right? ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए that I have a factory and the government is nationalizing that factory. That is saying that from tomorrow this factory belongs to the government. Security of property should be there. Harassment should not be there. Ease of doing business should be there. Right? So that becomes our first point. By first subpoint. By first subpoint. Not harassing them. Not harassing them. By not harassing them. Harass माने परेशान करना. By not harassing them. Plus not applying arbitrary taxes. Not applying arbitrary मतलब कुछ भी टैक्स लगा दिया. Arbitrary taxes, high tax लगा दिया. Plus by providing law and order stability. Plus by providing law and order stability. Plus by providing law and order stability. See, for a businessman, law and order stability is very important. Example, when Aurangzeb was fighting wars for 40 years, we mentioned that the overland trade, it got hurt. Why? Law and order stability is not there on the ground level. Merchants, they have sent some goods. वो कहाँ गए पता नहीं. Someone took them away, right? So therefore, law and order stability it is needed, which was good for law and order stability, which was good for trade. Law and order stability, which was good for trade. Which was good for trade. Plus by providing security of property. Plus by providing security of property. Plus by providing security of property. Second subpoint. Property. Security of property माने property is of two kinds. Movable property and immovable property. Movable property is something like, for example, your jewelry, your bank balance, your iPhone, your watch. These are all movable property. Immovable property is, for example, land or building, right? So security of property, it means that the government is not taking away your property randomly. The government is not saying that from tomorrow, all the money that you have in your bank accounts, it belongs to the government. And you check your mobile app and it says 0 rupees as balance. That means you do not have security of property. Randomly, the government has taken away your money, right? So therefore, that is the meaning. Second subpoint, by distributing mansabs. By distributing mansabs. By distributing mansabs. Which was a new feature. Which was a new feature. As traditionally, which was a new feature, as traditionally, men of money, as traditionally, men of money, as traditionally, men of money were not made mansabdars. As traditionally, men of money were not made mansabdars. And nobles based on lineage, and nobles based on lineage dominated mansabdari system. And nobles based on lineage dominated mansabdari system traditionally. And nobles based on lineage dominated Mansabdari system traditionally. Mansabdari system traditionally. Therefore, there was rise. Therefore, there was rise of. Therefore, there was rise of men of money. Therefore, there was rise of men of money in successor states. Therefore, there was rise of men of money in successor states. Example, by 1727, example, by 1727, 15 IZs माने intermediary zamindars, 15 intermediary zamindars responsible for 50% of LR collection. 15 intermediary zamindars responsible for 50% LR collection. 50% LR collection. So therefore, you see, some intermediary zamindars, they are promoted and they are given responsibility of land revenue collection from more and more areas, leading to such a situation that these 15 intermediary zamindars, they are responsible for land revenue collection of 50% of LR. And they are supporting Murshid Quli Khan. Murshid Quli Khan is supporting them, and therefore MQK is financially powerful. Right? Plus हाउस ऑफ जगत सेठ, प्लस हाउस ऑफ जगत सेठ. हाउस माने फैमिली, ठीक है. हाउस ऑफ जगत सेठ, हाउस ऑफ जगत सेठ became, plus house of Jagat Seth became a strong financial power. House of Jagat Seth became a strong financial power. House of Jagat Seth became strong financial power. And Dutch described Jagat Seth, and Dutch described Jagat Seth as richest banker of world. Dutch described Jagat Seth as richest banker of the world. Richest banker of the world. Comma, Jagat Seth controlled royal mint. Jagat Seth controlled royal mint. Comma, controlled royal mint. Comma, acted as banker for Nawab. Acted as banker for Nawab. Acted as banker for Nawab. Bracket में स्टार लगा के, that is gave loan. That is gave loan. Brackets closed. Acted as banker for Nawab. Bracket में स्टार लगा के, that is gave loan. Comma, financed trade all across India. Financed trade all across India. Financed trade all across India. Bracket में स्टार लगा के, that is loaned money to merchants. That is loaned money to merchants, so they can buy goods for further trade. That is loaned money to merchants, so they can buy goods for further trade. Bracket closed. Full stop. Full stop. Plus in Hyderabad, core feature of Mansabdari system changed. In Hyderabad, core feature of Mansabdari system changed. As men of money now dominated Mansabdari system. As men of money now dominated Mansabdari system. Third sub point. They converted Tankha Jagirs. They converted Tankha Jagirs into Watan Jagirs. They converted Tankha Jagirs into Watan Jagirs. They converted Tankha Jagirs into Watan Jagirs to get support of pre-existing Mansabdars. To get support of pre-existing Mansabdars. Example in Hyderabad. Example in Hyderabad. Core feature of Tankha Jagirs. Core feature of Tankha Jagirs. Core feature of Tankha Jagirs. क्या लिखेंगे? Became absent या क्या लिखें? Core feature of Tankha Jagirs. Extinct तो नहीं लिखना, मैं extinct मतलब vanished. हाँ, vanished. Core system of Tankha Jagir vanished. Core feature of Tankha Jagirs vanished. As many were converted into Watan Jagirs. As many were converted into Watan Jagirs. As many were converted into Watan Jagirs. Next point. Next sub point. They established effective revenue administration. They established effective revenue administration. They established effective revenue administration. And this increased their monetary power. And this increased their monetary power. Example, and this increased their monetary power. Example, MQK 1727. Example, MQK 1727. Example, MQK 1727 was known for his effective revenue administration. Was known for his effective revenue administration and did detailed surveys MQK 1727 was known for his effective revenue administration and did detailed surveys for LR assessment and did detailed surveys for LR assessment. Detailed surveys for LR assessment. ब्रैकेट में स्टार लगा के लिखिए. ब्रैकेट में स्टार लगा के लिखिए. That is identify soil productivity. That is identify soil productivity, comma, irrigation available. Identify soil productivity, comma, irrigation available, comma, crops sown, SOWN, crops sown, SOWN, comma, past trends of LR collection, past trends of LR collection, comma, area under production, past trends of LR collection, comma, area under production, that is acreage, area under production, that is acreage, etc. Before demanding LR, area under production, that is acreage, etc. Before demanding LR, brackets closed. So LR assessment माने how much amount of tax government wants from you, right? In the case of non-agriculture sector, for example, we are living in a non-agricultural society now. So therefore, it is easy for the government. Those who are up to 5 lakh rupees, they will not pay any income tax. Those are from 5 lakh rupees to 10 lakh rupees, they will pay this much amount of tax. Those are from 10 lakh rupees till 30 lakh rupees, they will pay this much amount of tax. So see, it is easy. भाई जिसके पास जितना पैसा है उससे उतना accordingly you take money, right? But if you are belonging to the agricultural sector, right? So in that scenario, because crops prices, because they are businessmen, in a way, so sale prices of crops, rice, wheat, they can vary. At times floods take place, at times droughts take place. So therefore वो income criteria थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे काफी ज़्यादा होता है. So therefore on the ground the government officials, they should go and they should identify all of these things which we have written and only then demand land revenue from you, leading to good assessment of land revenue demand. ऐसा नहीं that you are having a piece of land, no irrigation, no water is coming, no well is there, right? And the government says pay me 60% of your produce as land revenue. You will be like, साहब मैं मर जाऊंगा, ये क्या है, right? And on the other side, you are having a piece of land which is very fertile, very good irrigation is there, good rains are taking place, and the government says that you pay 30% LR. You're like, बढ़िया. Let's see, good amount of, so basically right amount of LR should be demanded, and it should be based on all of these things. And this land surveys, they're very, very tough. The Britishers, when they try to do it, when they try to do it, they will take more than 30 years to do it. It is very tough. Going to the ground level, checking with each and every small farmer, identifying all of these things. It is tough. That what should be the right amount of figure. And this is a very important thing. It is going to lead to 1857 revolt. This problem of surveys is going to contribute to 1857 revolt. Peasants, they will be joining hands with the sepoys who mutinied in the 1857 revolt because of these surveys, improper surveys. Right? So this is very important. Right? So anyways, so therefore a good revenue administrator will be doing surveys, and he did surveys. Right? तो उस प्रकार से. Next point. Next independent point है. Then they began ruling autonomously. Then, so after doing all of this, then they began ruling autonomously. Then they began ruling autonomously. Example. Distributed mansabs and jagirs. Example. Distributed mansabs and jagirs. Example. Distributed mansabs and jagirs. Without permission or reference, without permission or reference to Mughal emperor. Without permission or reference to Mughal emperor. Without permission or reference to Mughal emperor. Plus, behaved autonomously in important matters. Behaved autonomously in important matters. Like matters of war and peace. Behaved autonomously in important matters. Like matters of war and peace. Comma, signing treaties with neighbors. Matters of war and peace. Comma, signing treaties with neighbors. Signing treaties with neighbors. Comma, domestic policies, etc. Comma, domestic policies, etc. Plus, gradually reduced financial reporting. Gradually reduced financial reporting. Gradually reduced financial reporting of revenue collected, comma, to Delhi. Gradually reduced financial reporting of revenue collected, comma, to Delhi. In brackets, star laga ke, that is books of accounts were not sent. that is books of account or hisab, was not sent. Brackets closed. Books of accounts or hisab was not sent. Brackets closed. Plus stopped sending revenue regularly. Stopped sending revenue regularly. Stopped sending revenue regularly to Delhi. Stopped sending revenue regularly to Delhi. And later also reduced. And later also reduced. And later also reduced amount of revenue sent. And later also reduced amount of revenue sent. And finally stopped sending revenue altogether. And finally stopped sending revenue altogether. Finally stopped sending revenue altogether. अभी देखो, if you are sitting in the front seat, then be ready for some ragging. I told you, those who are very sensitive, they should not sit in the front seat, right? So therefore there is only one request of me to you, and that is, please ये ऐसे नोट्स मत बनाओ यार, है ना? ऐसा कोई अभी पर्सनल डायरी थोड़ी चल रहा है, तो मतलब ऐसा ये it is neither giving you the flexibility and it is not the, मतलब ऐसा थोड़ा सा, मतलब ऐसा वो छोटा वाला डायरी ले आओ, नहीं तो पॉकेट वाला और कन्वीनियंस हो जाएगा ना. Napoleon made a constitution which was as small that it can be carried in pocket. Maybe you are influenced by Napoleon, right? But ऐसा मतलब it will later on create problems for you. Why? Because how many diaries will be required? Psychologically you feel I have 10 diaries of history lectures, and then you will curse me. At least in this case you can have one register or 1.5 register of history, right? So therefore I believe in this upri hawaएं, right? So therefore ill wishes, right? They will disturb my mental peace later on, right? So this will lead to what 6-7 these diaries they will be filled. So ऐसा तो चलो इसको तो भर लो, but then whatever the next that you're trying to do, right? And don't mind if I again take panga with you, right, on this basis. Okay? Anyways, why I believe in ragging. We went to college. Just there was this All India rank 4, Prakash Raj Purohit, right? I became IAS, right? Before that he was in IIT Delhi. I was also in IIT Delhi, and there he had got All India rank 2. Somehow he could not ever achieve his dream of getting All India rank 1, maybe, right? But then some ragging took place, right? And he complained, and ऐसा कुछ ज़्यादा हुआ भी नहीं था उसके साथ. He knows better, but anyways he complained. And मतलब serious वाला IIT में वैसा ragging नहीं होता, गंदे वाला ragging नहीं होता. And then he complained. 3-4 people, their careers were gone, right? So anyways, next year we came. There is fun in fear. Why do you watch horror movies? Right? There is fun in fear, and we're like discussing. Ragging will be there. Ragging will be there. पता नहीं मैं तो यहाँ भाग जाऊँगा. I'll run away. Ragging will be there. And then what happened when we were there? No one came to do ragging, and our batch got disappointed because there is fun in fear. कि ragging होगा, है ना? There is fun in fear. So therefore, finally, we went to our seniors. Sir, please do our ragging, please. We have lived in this fear that there will be ragging, right? And now there is no ragging. We are disappointed, right? So please do ragging. After that, they took assurances from us that we will not complain. We gave assurances, and then they did ragging. For the next whole 1 week, 2 weeks, they did ragging, right? बड़ा मजा आया, right? Ears were red, etc., etc. बड़ा मजा आया, right? Ragging. After ragging, before ragging, your generation in many of the cases, because ragging is not there in many of the cases, Your generation, you go out on these streets, right? You are on a bike or you're in a car, right? And you're studious kind of person also, so good college, right? The other person says, "Ah, wait, right? Yeah, so some expletives he's saying, you like, right? Okay, you go. In our case, he says 5 expletives, we say 20. Right? No problem. These things, they don't create any pressure on us. Right? So ragging is very important. Ragging is very important. They make you street smart. Otherwise, how will you deal with some, bad elements? Ragging is important. Right? So therefore, I do ragging. Next point. Finally, these nobles established their dynastic rule. Finally, these nobles established their dynastic rules. Finally, these nobles established their dynastic rule. What is the meaning of dynastic rule? That my son, that is my bloodline, will be the ruler. And therefore, while writing this sentence, इसको थोड़ा ध्यान से देखना, ठीक है? And therefore, Mughal emperor lost power. And therefore, Mughal emperor lost power to appoint future governors. Therefore, Mughal emperor lost power to appoint future governors of successor states. Brackets में स्टार लगा के. Legally he had power. Legally he had power. But in practice he did not. And appointment of mansabdars is important, as it makes appointment of mansabdars is important power. Brackets closed. Is important power, brackets closed. You see, Subadar is one of the most important mansabdar. And when you are losing the power to appoint the next Subadar, so Mughal emperor ki taakat kya hai? Distributing mansabs, distributing jagirs. That is how he behaved as a patron in the patron-client relationship. Now the client is saying that you don't have these powers. So you see, patron is zero. Client is the patron, self-patron now. Right? So therefore, these clients, they took away the power of the patron. Patron-client relationship is this kind of relationship. Patron it is here, and client it is here. Client is Mansab, and patron is the Mughal emperor. Right? So give and take is there, but ऊंचा हाथ किसका है? Who has the bigger hand, upper hand? Patron. So therefore he is giving mansabs, he can take away mansab also. He is giving jagir, he can take away jagir also. That is his power. That is what makes him powerful. And when you are taking away these two powers from him, that is within the state, I will distribute mansab and jagirs as I want. And acha, I am also mansabdar. Forget it. My son-in-law is going to be the next Subadar. You go to hell. So therefore you see, in a way, the state, what is the power of this patron at state level? So this is Delhi, and there are multiple subas. One of the suba is, for example, Bengal, Hyderabad, etc. So what is the power of the emperor of Delhi in the boundaries of Bengal? A, the head mansabdar, Head mansabdars, they are like diwan, they are like governor, they are like war commander, right? Or majorly governor, he is the head, right? And then below him there are junior mansabdars, जैसे दीवान हो गया, बाकी उस तरीके से. So therefore, if this top mansabdar cannot be appointed by the king, it is based on blood, and this mansabdar is appointing smaller mansabdars as he wants, distributing jagirs as he wants, That means you are saying that Delhi, your power ends here. You have no power in Bengal. On paper, yes, we will say Jahanpana, but in reality, you have no power in Bengal. Right? So that is why we wrote that by mid of 18th century, Mughal emperor's power was limited to Delhi and Agra. उसकी कोई ताकत ही नहीं है in Bengal. So patron is losing the power to be patron. Patron is losing the power to be patron. Right? तो इसको लिखिए ब्रैकेट में स्टार लगा के. Mughal emperor lost powers to act as a patron. Mughal emperor lost power to act as a patron. And therefore, even the patron-client relationship, Mughal emperor lost power to be a patron. And therefore, even the patron-client relationship that we showed as a weakness, as it led to, that we showed as a weakness, लिखवा ना, that we showed as a weakness, that led to personal loyalty, instead of impersonal loyalty, dash also ended as the client itself became patron. Also ended as the client itself became patron. Brackets closed. Right? तो समझिए हम क्या कह रहे हैं. This is interlinking. While discussing the decline of Mughals, we said that impersonal loyalty could not develop. Why? Because there was personal loyalty to the king. King gave mansab and jagirs and acted as patron, and mansabdars who were clients, in return they gave their loyalty and maintained army for the king. Till the point of time he was able to give the desired mansab and jagirs, loyalty stayed. If weak personality was there who could not give the desired mansab and jagir, then the clients, that is mansabdars, they became disloyal. ये patron client relationship we mentioned as a negative, but at least some power is there with the patron. Now imagine even this relationship, it is ceasing. So what will be the decline of Mughals? कि जो नेगेटिव भी था अब वो भी नहीं है, डबल नेगेटिव हो, मतलब है ही नहीं कुछ पैटर्न. सो बेसिकली इन अ वे ये जो कॉम्प्लेक्स, दीज पीपल दे यूज कॉम्प्लेक्स इंग्लिश, है ना, हमें डराते हैं बाय सेइंग पैटर्न क्लाइंट रिलेशनशिप फलाना ढिमकाना, ठीक है, एज इफ ओनली द ह्यूमैनिटी स्टूडेंट दे विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इट, राइट. हम साइंस वाले लोग नहीं समझ पाएंगे, है ना, मतलब ऐसा कोई एंटी ह्यूमैनिटीज वाला एटीट्यूड नहीं है, बट ऐसे ही इन जनरल थोड़ा सा है, ठीक. दे यूज कॉम्प्लेक्स इंग्लिश. सिंपल में बताओ ना भाई, हमको तो 1 + 1 = 2 समझ में आता है नहीं, ऐसे 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 है, कॉम्प्लेक्स इंग्लिश ऐसे यूज करके, है, ट्राइंग टू एस्टैब्लिश एलिटनेस ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ लैंग्वेज ओनली, राइट. नो, सिंप्लीफाइड भाई, सिंप्लीफाई. तो सिंप्लीफाइंग क्या है भाई, पैटर्न क्लाइंट रिलेशनशिप ये है, ठीक है. एंड व्हाट इज द पावर ऑफ द मुगल एम्परर, दैट ही इज एबल टू एक्ट एज अ पैटर्न, ही इज अ गिवर, राइट. सो ही इज अ पैटर्न हु इज वॉकिंग and who is, dropping gold coins, and the clients, they are picking those gold coins and saying we are loyal to you. Now that person is not in that position anymore, and the people, they are earning money themselves. They are like, tu bhad mein ja. He does not have even any money to distribute. Neither he has mansabs to distribute, nor he has jagis to distribute. Those people who were earlier takers, they are saying, sorry giver, we don't need you anymore, right. So decline of Mughals is nothing but end of this patron client relationship, where the Mughal emperor stopped being a patron, a giver. क्यों? ये लोग कह रहे हैं हमें तुझसे चाहिए नहीं, हम खुद ही ले लेंगे, तुझे जो करना कर ले, राइट? एंड यू आर गेटिंग कंफ्यूज्ड, सो वॉट एवर वी राइट इन ब्रैकेट में स्टार लगा के, दिस इज सेल्फ टॉक, right? And we can use any kind of words, right? We can use our mother tongue also. Why? Because the purpose of bracket mein star lagane is so that we are able to understand the content or elaborate upon it in our own language, so that we are able to understand, right? So we are doing self talk, that's why we usme likha we, right? So that is the purpose, right? Next point, therefore, however, next point, however, power was not totally centralized. However, power was not totally centralized. However, power was not totally centralized and was shared between different segments, between different segments. That is Nawab slash Nazim slash Subadar. That is Nawab slash Nazim slash Subadar slash Governor. And men of money and traditional mansabdars. 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 इसका सिंपल मीनिंग ये है, सी ऐसा नहीं है दैट 100 यूनिट्स ऑफ पावर दे आर कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड इन दी निजाम और दे आर कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड इन दी मुर्शीद कुली खान. नहीं, नाउ दीज men of money they are also powerful. So it is a network which is functioning. It is a network which is functioning, and it is not that Murshid Quli Khan tomorrow can say that Jagat Seth get out. Sorry. So power is shared between Jagat Seth, between intermediate zamindars, between merchants, and this Nawab. It is a network. And Nawab cannot say get lost. Right. For example, in today's polity in any country, power is shared between the big MNCs and the president or the prime minister. So therefore, US president cannot tell Google, Facebook, etc. that you get lost. No. If he does, they are going to be, in the next election, they will not come to power. In the next election, they will not come to power. Right? Because they are powerful. Economic power can buy political power. Right? Example, Battle of Plassey 1757. It was started by Jagat Seth. Alivardi Khan, 1740-56, he was brought to power by Jagat Seth. Jagat Seth, richest bankers of the world. They were so rich at that point of time, once the Marathas raided and they took away 2 crore rupees from their home. Right? And the records show that they were not very disturbed. In that time, 2 crore rupees. So multiplied by 200 factor or multiplied by 300. So imagine from your house 600 crore rupees are stolen. And कोई life है होता रहता है. They were so rich. Their annual turnover was around, at that time it was around 20 crore rupees. Multiplied by, and that also in an agrarian society. Right, so they were called richest bankers of the world. East India Company could not have done its trade had the Jagat Seth not loaned money to the East India Company. And when Siraj-ud-Dowla, he threatened Jagat Seth with death, the Jagat Seth, they plotted removal of Siraj-ud-Dowla, and therefore the Battle of Plassey took place. They asked East India Company, they gave 2 crore rupees to East India Company, to Robert Clive, and some further more money, and they asked the East India Company to fight and defeat Siraj-ud-Dowla. Right, so see, power it is shared. It is not that the Nawab can act dictatorially and he can say and do anything. Right? So ऐसा नहीं है that 100% power was centralized by them. Next point. Next heading. Rebel states dash. Rebel states dash. Rebel states dash. Acha, you can also write down refer to or check handout. Check handout check handout on successor states. So some of the details which when you read NCRT, when you read, traditional books, some of the details which you come across, they're mentioned there. But I have belief that if you are able to understand this, and after the kind of content that we have written, if you read it on your own, you will be very easily able to understand it, right? So nothing more is there. For example, I'll show you. And if any doubt is there, you can email me, or I can take up in the next class also, or next, or at any point of time. So this document number 2 is there, successor states. So prelims related, some small details are mentioned. Right. So for example, right at the beginning, we have mentioned that who all were the rulers. So Murshid Quli Khan was the ruler, then Shujauddin Muhammad Khan, his son-in-law, then his son Sarfaraz Khan, who was overthrown by a military commander, that is your Alivardi Khan. After that, Siraj Uddaula, etc., etc. So we'll discuss all of these things when we move later. This is like the brief profile of Murshid Quli Khan. Most of the things we have mentioned, that he was a very good revenue administrator, that he was the last governor of Bengal Suba appointed by the Mughal emperor, right? So मतलब ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, but I have firm faith that if you read through it, then you will be able to understand it, and for the purpose of prelims, some small facts are there, right? Revenue administration point we have mentioned, right? So anyways, इस प्रकार से, right? So role of bankers थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में है. What was the role of Jagat Seth? What they did, right? So कुछ नहीं, just for the purpose of prelims, this much is good enough for thing. मतलब the point is that if you simply read through the handouts, right? So what I am dictating to you, that is in a way summary of the handouts. समझ रहे हो क्या कह रहा हूं मैं? And what I am omitting, as such कोई deliberate omission नहीं है, but let's say some small facts are there. For example, when we discuss the East India Company, then some small facts that Portuguese, they established their factories in which areas, right? Or French, they established their factories in which area, or Britishers, they established their warehouses in which areas. So those kind of facts I have covered in the handout, because dictating them, it is like, no-brainers. They are no-brainers, they are simple facts. And in the class, we focus on the summaries, good detailed summaries of these handouts, which have brains. And they give you decent number of facts so that you are able to write answers in the mains, and to good extent prelims also, but slightly extra small facts they will be mentioned here. And if you do the handouts plus the class notes, then that covers 95% or 97% of the prelims, right? And 100% of the, or 99% of the mains. For that balance 3%, 4%, you can read the visionized material. So therefore, this is how, no need to take these printouts, because that will become very bulky, right? When you read this, you'll feel कि अच्छा इसमें mostly तो सर ने class में लिखवा ही दिया है. When you read this, you'll feel that mostly the things have been mentioned by the sir. Okay, some small fact here and there, it is there, right? So therefore, just read it on your computer, right? You can circle or highlight that, okay, this is additional, this is additional, something like this you can do. With this and this, 95% of your prelims is done. Add vision material, 99% of your prelims is done. With this and this, your 99% of mains, it is done. Okay, mains, so it is done through this also, 99%, what we are dictating in the class, right? So therefore, that is the idea. Okay, so don't get worried that, sir, how many pages are there? 10 pages are there. Sir, ye bhi hai nahi. Out of these 10 pages, 8 have been dictated to you. Out of these 10 pages, 8 or 9 have been dictated to you. Some small facts here and there are there, right? Next, write down. Rebel states likha tha, rebel states, in brackets, Marathas, Sikh, Jats, Afghans. Marathas, Sikh, Jats, Afghans. Marathas, Sikh, Jats, Afghans. Bracket is closed. First subheading, Marathas. First subheading, Marathas. Rise. Marathas dash rise. Marathas dash rise. That is, we are going to discuss the rise of the Marathas. So now our heroes become Marathas. And Mughals, they will come into supporting actor role. Till now, The heroes were Mughals, right? So now first point, Maratha Kingdom was founded by, Maratha Kingdom was founded by Shivaji. Maratha Kingdom was founded by Shivaji 7480. छत्रपति शिवाजी भी लिख सकते हो, बिकॉज 7480 छत्रपति शिवाजी 7480 in brackets 1674 he declared himself as Chhatrapati. 1674 he declared himself as Chhatrapati. 1674 he declared himself as Chhatrapati. That is legally independent. That is legally independent from Mughals. That is legally independent from Mughals. That is legally independent from Mughals. Unlike successor states, legally independent from Mughals, unlike successor states, brackets closed. Right? So he is ruling since middle of roughly 17th century, but there comes a point of time when he says that now the time has come that I have to declare myself as legally independent also. So we are not saying that his rule began in 1674. We are saying that he 7480 is only for the purpose of remembering the year when he declared himself as Chhatrapati. Right? So he was ruling like a successor state in a way. Forget the successor state. He was ruling as an autonomous entity within the Mughals, right? And then he declared, yes, he is constantly fighting with Aurangzeb also and all of these things, right? So the sentence is Maratha Kingdom was founded by Shivaji 7480, फिर जो भी brackets में आया, in second half of 17th century. 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 By fighting against Bijapur, by fighting against Bijapur and Aurangzeb 5807. By fighting against Bijapur and Aurangzeb 5807. So earlier we had mentioned that Golconda it is here, Bijapur, which is Maharashtra today, it is here. This kind of map was there. ऊपर से Aurangzeb wants to capture Golconda and Bijapur. In 1687, Golconda is captured. In 1685, Bijapur is captured. However, even before 1685, there was this Marathas who had taken over some territories of Bijapur. So, in the case of Bijapur, there were three powers who were fighting. Aurangzeb ऊपर से, Marathas, and existing power Bijapur, and everyone, both Aurangzeb as well as Marathas, they want to take over Bijapur, right? So Bijapur is modern day Maharashtra. Goa was also part of Bijapur. Map में भी दिखाया था आपको पहले, if you remember, right? नहीं तो दोबारा देख लेते हैं if you want to see. So it was a triangular fight here. So you see, here there is this Bijapur, here there is this Golconda. Bijapur पे नजर है. Both Aurangzeb want to capture Bijapur and Marathas who are from Bijapur only, they also want to capture Bijapur, right? So therefore, Maratha Kingdom, it is set up by Chhatrapati Shivaji when he fights against both Bijapur as well as Aurangzeb 5807. There will come a point of time when Aurangzeb 5807, that is 1658 to 1707, will be able to dominate whole of Bijapur, or will be able to dominate the Marathas also. You see, so but this is temporarily. This is temporarily. Marathas, they will fight back and they will convert this map. They will convert this map gradually into this map. Right? This point we have discussed earlier also. This is nothing but Bijapur. अब ये बीजापुर जो है वो छोटा सा पार्ट रह गया है विच इज पार्ट ऑफ दिस, बट अदरवाइज दिस होल एरिया इट इज देयर विद द मराठास बाय 1795. उसी का स्टोरी हम देख रहे हैं. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इन 16 नहीं वो तो हमने लिख लिया. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट पीरियड्स इन मराठा पॉलिटी. पीरियड्स इन मराठा पॉलिटी. पीरियड्स और फेजेस इन मराठा पॉलिटी. A 1680-1719, 1680-1719, 1680-1719. Period of instability. Period of instability and turmoil. Period of instability and turmoil. After death of Shivaji, Sen 480. After death of Shivaji, Sen 480. In 1680. After death of Shivaji, Sen 480. In 1680. Second, 1719-1761. 1719-1761. 1719-1761. Period of stability and growth. Period of stability and growth. Period of stability and growth. Next, 1761 onwards. 1761 onwards. Dash. 1761 onwards dash. Period of decline. Period of decline with temporary revival in 1770s. Period of decline with temporary revival in 1770s. Temporary revival in 1770s. And 1774 onwards. And 1774 onwards, British influence in Maratha polity began. And 1774 onwards, British influence in Maratha polity began. British influence in Maratha polity began. Now, on a fresh page, we are going to make the family tree of Chhatrapati Shivaji, right? So Chhatrapati Shivaji, Chhatrapati means king, right, or emperor. Sen 480, that is in 1674 he declared himself as the emperor or the king, and in 1680 he died. In 1680 he died. Now, since we are reading it for actually what happens when we make flowchart like notes while revising, we get confused that which particular thing we should read first. So that is the only purpose that I am marking it as 1. It is basically for ourselves. That is, it is not chronology. It is simply that okay, this is the flow in which we should reach our flow. We should read our flowchart. So Chhatrapati Shivaji, 2 sons which are famous in history. So one is Sambhaji. One is Sambhaji. Sambhaji, he died in 1689. And obviously fighting is taking place against Aurangzeb till 1707, right? So therefore, इसको हम पढ़ेंगे number 2 पे, ठीक? Then we come to the right. Rajaram. Rajaram died 10 years later in 1699. In 1699. After this, his widow, Tarabai, she began ruling. She began ruling in name of their infant son, Shivaji II. So Shivaji too is an infant. So therefore, all of us have seen the movie Bahubali. Just that in Bahubali, grandmother is ruling, right, with one kid in this hand, another in this hand, right. Here, mother is ruling, right. Here, mother is ruling, while the legally, because male king concept is there, so therefore, since he is an infant, therefore she is ruling, and such people they are called regent. Regent. A ruler who is ruling in the name of the king, because the king is either not well or still not an adult, right. So therefore regent, right. Now what happens is, after Aurangzeb 5807, what you call as your Bahadur Shah 0712 came to power, and he wanted to reverse some of the policies of Aurangzeb, right. तो these policies, for example, they are called pacifist policies. वो आप ही की क्लास में किसी ने पूछा था क्या pacifist policies क्या होती हैं? Nikita Khrushchev, did I mention Nikita Khrushchev in your class? Okay. So for example, Stalin was the ruler of USSR from 1929 till 1953, and Stalin was very, very dictatorial, right. And Stalin, if you are anti-Stalin, randomly in the night police will come and pick you up. You can be a very, very big leader also. Recently an event took place where the Twitter video was going viral, whereby Hu Jintao, he was being removed from the, that is called purge, right. So purge can mean removal from the post, it can mean removal from the party, it can also mean imprisonment, it can also mean death, and it can also mean deportation out of the country. Purge, right. So Stalin was very, very dictator like. When he died in 1953, after that Nikita Khrushchev came to power. Nikita is a man, not a woman. Nikita Khrushchev came to power, right. And Nikita Khrushchev, he started a policy of what you call as de-Stalinization, right, whereby he tried to undo whatever Stalin was doing, right. Less use of secret police, more freedom to the press, good relations with US relatively, because Cold War was going on. So therefore, whatever Stalin stood for, uska opposite karna, it is called de-Stalinization. Similarly, that is following diplomacy more as compared to war or these kind of things. Similarly, after Aurangzeb 5807, Bahadur Shah 0712 followed diplomacy more. He is not becoming friend of anyone, but he is using the tactics which were used by Aurangzeb less, and he is preferring diplomacy. So therefore, in 1707, he released, there was son of Sambhaji called Shahu, 1949. So Shahu was in jail. When Aurangzeb died in 1707, Bahadur Shah released him from jail. What is the political benefit? Because every ruler works in his benefit. The political benefit is that now Shahu will come and he will say that, Chachi ji, that is auntie, please, this is my throne that you are sitting on. Why? Because I am the son of the eldest son of Shivaji. And therefore, a civil war will begin. Tarabai will say, sorry, I am not leaving the throne, and a civil war will begin. That is, when you say war, it is between two foreign players. When you say civil war, it means a domestic war, right? So civil war will begin from the 1707 until 1719. And Shahu obviously will win the war because his name is Shahu 1949. That is the benefit of adding the code 1949, because कुछ चीजें तो automatic हो जाती हैं. If code of Shivaji Maharaj is 7480, it is automatic that he died in 1680. Right? If code of Muhammad Shah is 1948, it is automatic that he died in 1748. Code of Shahuji Maharaj is 1949. So therefore, became the Chhatrapati in 1619 and 1719 and died in 1749. Right? So therefore, burden kam ho jata. Anyways, so point number 5. Right? So therefore, Shahu 1949, that is 1719-49, released from imprisonment by Bahadur Shah, by Bahadur Shah 0712 in 1707 after Death of Aurangzeb 5807. And therefore, point number 6. Now, civil war. Now, civil war from 1707 till 1719, whereby Shahu 1949 versus Tarabai versus Tarabai. Right. So obviously by 1719 he is victorious, and then period of stability and growth begins. Then stability and growth begins. So therefore, this is how we have made a family tree, but also at the same time given some additional details. So therefore, this can make sense. So please make it. Done. Done. Right. So next, write down. Why Shahu 1991? Why Shahu 19491? Why Shahu 19491? Context dash. Context dash. Context dash. 1680 onwards. 1680 onwards. 1680 onwards. There was turmoil. There was turmoil due to death of Shivaji. There was turmoil due to death of Shivaji. And continuous warfare of AZ 5807. Continuous warfare of AZ 5807. Plus after release of Shahu. Plus after release of Shahu in 1707. After release of Shahu in 1707. There was civil war. There was civil war. There was civil war. Plus during civil war, Deshmukhs and Maratha Sardars. During civil war, Deshmukhs and Maratha Sardars. Deshmukhs and Maratha Sardars frequently switched sides. Frequently switched sides. frequently switched sides between Tarabai, frequently switched sides between Tarabai comma Shahu 1949, Shahu 1949, Shahu 1949, and Mughals. And Mughals. See, businessmen, they always want to be on the winning side. And Maratha Sardars, they are also, Maratha Sardars, they are people who have some private army. Like Bahubalis are there in UP, right? So that means private person who has some of his own private army and he can be on someone's side. He would expect that in future maybe he can be made a Mansabdar or maybe he can be compensated monetarily or something like this, right? Maratha Sardars, local chiefs, right? Those prakar se. So it is a period of turmoil because they are switching sides. If they feel that Mughals are going to be victorious, they start supporting Mughals. If they feel that Shahu is going to be victorious, they start supporting. So therefore, instability it is there. Now write down the first point. So after context, first point. Important role, important role, important role, important role of sixth Peshwa, important role of sixth Peshwa, important role of sixth Peshwa, Balaji Vishwanath, important role of sixth Peshwa, Balaji Vishwanath, sixth Peshwa, Balaji Vishwanath, 1320, Balaji Vishwanath, 1320, who was a very able leader, who was a very able leader, who was a very able leader and helped, who was a very able leader and helped Shahu 1949 and helped Shahu 1949 and helped Shahu 1949 gather support and helped Shahu 1949 gather support of powerful sections, gather support of powerful sections, gather support of powerful sections. Next point, support of strong Brahmin banking families, support of strong Brahmin banking families, support of strong Brahmin banking families, support of strong Brahmin banking families. Next point, support of new independent, support of new independent, support of new independent Maratha Sardars, new independent Maratha Sardars. Therefore by 1719, Shahu 1949 emerged victorious. Therefore by 1719, Shahu 1949 emerged victorious, leading to period of stability and growth, leading to period of stability and growth. Growth, stability and growth. Full stop. Dispute with Shivaji II was permanently settled. Dispute with Shivaji II was permanently settled via Treaty of Varna, via Treaty of Varna 1731, via Treaty of Varna 1731, where he was given Kolhapur, where he was given Kolhapur, where he was given Kolhapur. So Kolhapur, it is there. So this is your Pune, Pune was the headquarter of the Peshwa. Satara, it was the headquarter of the Chhatrapati, and Kolhapur it is here. So Pune, Satara, Kolhapur. So therefore, now Shivaji too is an adult, right, and therefore incapacity to sign his own treaty. So because he is a cousin, family, right, so therefore fine. He is also compensated by giving him Kolhapur, right. So therefore, he is given his recognized treaty. Now some questions will come to our mind. What are those questions? When we read the first sentence, we say important role of sixth Peshwa. Right. So therefore, what is mean by Peshwa? Right. So ब्रैकेट में स्टार लगा के लिखिए, वहां पे नहीं, फ्रेश लिखिए, काफी कुछ लिखवाएंगे, ब्रैकेट में स्टार लगा के लिखिए. Peshwa is equal to PM. Peshwa is equal to PM, Prime Minister. Peshwa is equal to PM is equal to Wazir. Peshwa is equal to PM is equal to Wazir. Right. So like Wazir is there for the Mughals, Peshwa is there for the Marathas. Right. Plus he was one of the 8 ministers. He was one of the 8 ministers in council, one of the 8 ministers in council of Chhatrapati. One of the 8 ministers in council of Chhatrapati. In council of Chhatrapati. Right? So 8 ministers were there. The number one among them is called the Prime Minister. Right? That is Peshwa. तो ये हमें पता चल गया पेशवा. फिर हम कह रहे हैं सिक्स्थ पेशवा. Natural question is there, sir, sixth Peshwa Balaji Vishnath 1320, but in 1713 there is a dispute. Tarabai is saying that Shivaji too is the king, and Shah is saying no, I am the king. So Tarabai can have her own Peshwa, right? And Shahu can also have his own Peshwa, right? So, but since he is ultimately victorious, so therefore we are calling him the sixth Peshwa. Yes, until 1719 there will be a dispute that who is the actual Peshwa. उनका वाला पेशवा ठीक है और इनका वाला पेशवा ठीक है, राइट. सो देयरफॉर दैट इज द थिंग, राइट. फिर हमने क्या कहा, दैट ही वाज वेरी एबल लीडर एंड हेल्प शाहू गैदर सपोर्ट ऑफ पावरफुल सेक्शन. सो फाइन, ही हैड अ वेरी गुड पर्सनालिटी एंड ही इज एबल टू गेट सपोर्ट ऑफ पावरफुल सेक्शंस. Powerful sections will be monetarily powerful or militarily powerful. So in the next point we are talking about monetarily powerful section. Brahmin banking families. So therefore usually Brahmins are scholars, but in Maharashtra there were some Brahmin families which were banking families, and bankers, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, obviously they are going to be very very rich, Jagat Seth, right. So therefore if they are putting their money behind Shahu, then obviously chances of victory of Shahu will be greater, right. And Balaji Vishnath was himself a Brahmin, right, and therefore he was able to forge this alliance between Brahmin banking families and Shahuji Maharaj, right. Second, he was also able to gather support of Maratha Sardars. हमने क्या लिखा, न्यू इंडिपेंडेंट मराठा सरदार्स. न्यू इंडिपेंडेंट मराठा सरदार. When you say new, that means before these Maratha Sardars, before these local chiefs, before these Bahubalis, there would be some other Maratha Sardars also. है ना. वो कौन से मराठा सरदार थे? Books don't mention. Book mention the new ones only. But they were those Maratha Sardars who kept on switching sides very frequently. We wrote a sentence that during the period of turmoil after 1680, Deshmukhs and Maratha Sardars, they continuously switched sides between Tarabai, Shahu and Mughals. So वो वाले. अब ये कौन से new Maratha Sardars हैं? Who stay loyal to Shahu. These are the new Maratha Sardars who stay loyal to Shahu. And independent Maratha Sardars are naturally independent because they have their own private armies और ज्यादा किसी की सुनते नहीं है. They don't listen to anyone. उनकी मर्जी है, their wish, whether they want to support Tarabai or they want to support Shahuji Maharaj, right. And therefore they are militarily more successful and their contribution is important for victory of Shahu. Now continue writing in the bracket में स्टार लगा के. अच्छा, यहाँ पे नोटिस करिए, इंदौर it is here. Gwalior it is here, okay, Gwalior. Then Indore it is here, okay. Then Baroda it is here, okay, and Nagpur it is here. Gwalior, Indore, Baroda, Nagpur, right. Later on these people, they'll control these areas, right. So therefore can we make this kind of a So make this kite structure. So write down Maratha Sardars, Maratha Sardars, Maratha Sardars is equal to Maratha Sardars is equal to and then you draw this structure. मानेगी this structure. This kind of structure you make. राइट एक काइट वाइट छोड़ भी सकते हो, ये भी बना सकते हो, जो भी, ठीक है. द सिंपल पॉइंट इज दैट कैन वी अंडरस्टैंड द ज्योग्राफी. सो देयरफॉर हियर देयर वाज दिस सिंधिया ऑफ ग्वालियर, सिंधिया ऑफ ग्वालियर. दिस वाज होलकर ऑफ इंदौर, होलकर ऑफ इंदौर. दिस वाज गायकवाड़ ऑफ बड़ौदा, गायकवाड़ ऑफ बड़ौदा. And this was Bhosle. Shivaji was also Bhosle. Bhosle of Nagpur. So later on these people, they'll control these areas, but this is how they are referred to in history. So therefore we get a geographical sense also that where these places were, and we are also able to write down the names of these people. So instead of writing in a straight line, if in our notes we mention it like this, or in the exam also it is fine. So therefore we get a geographical sense also, right? Just that remember that instead of this kind of a structure, ऐसा structure हम बना सकते हैं ना, इस वाली चीज को थोड़ा सा left shift कर देना. That's it, right? तो ऐसा करके याद कर सकते हैं, right? So these were the Maratha Sardars जिनके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, right? Brackets closed, right? बस एक अब यार इसमें टाइम लग जाएगा, 8:04. चलो ठीक है. In the next class we'll be talking about what you call as, in the next class we'll be talking about the hierarchy of Peshwas, family tree of Peshwas. हाँ मतलब in a way, मतलब they will become rulers of साम्राज्य. Akash is saying, sir, this number does not matter, but in NCERT it is written Nadir Shah massacred 30,000 civilians. 2 lakh civilians तो यार वहां से था, क्या कहते हैं, जो अदर मेन स्ट्रीम बुक्स है वहीं से ही बता रहा हूं मैं, ठीक है. 2 lakh civilians का जो फिगर है. पप्पू इज आस्किंग 244048 मीन्स. भाई पप्पू आई कैन नॉट हेल्प यू, ठीक है. तुम्हारी गाड़ी 244048 पे ही है, तुम चला के सो जाते हो, ठीक है. ठीक है, आपने तो आंसर कर ही दिए होंगे क्वेश्चंस ना.